Episode 4, Stomp Your Hooves in Wait. I remember from episode 3 when it ended, Katya went missing alongside Semyon. So, yeah, I don't know what happened to them, but we are going to find out, so let's get started. Biasha joined us at the table, gnawing anxiously on his lower lip.
Тосик, ты почти в этом сраном лесу живёшь. Вчера ничего странного не видел, на?
I replied with a complete lie.
Нет.
Я тоже. Повезло, что классуха моим родакам нажаловалась из-за оценок. Вот меня и не выпустили вечером на репетицию.
Okay.
А то на месте Катьки оказались бы мы.
Biasha scratched at his Adam's apple.
Это... Я что сказать хотел, на?
Does he know something?
Я кое-что слышал.
He does.
Этим утром я, как обычно, в школу шел. Вдруг слышу плач за деревьями. Девчачий. Сечетина.
Could it have been Katya?
Ну, я про Катьку-то не знал тогда. Да и знал бы, стрёмно оно, братки. Утро у нас не лучше ноти. Темно, как в зопе. Вдруг это Катька была, а?
Maybe.
А главное, вместе таком паршивом, в буреломе, что неподалеку от кладбища.
Near the cemetery.
Хорош пургу гнать!
Да зуб даю, на! Сам слышал!
I believe him.
А вы уверены, что Катя действительно пропала?
I mean, yeah, her missing poster's in the back, so... Unless what he means is, did she really go missing, or did she get kidnapped? Or was she murdered?
Вон, Лилия Павловна, Катькина матушка, даже на работу не пришла.
Oh.
Слетела контрольная, на!
Oh, I didn't know that was her mother.
Как пить дать, пацаны, это Катька в тайге стонала. А значит, и до неё маньячела добрался.
I remembered Katya. She was both beautiful and mean. The first girl in our class with a maturing body, to the envy of all the other girls. The main source of gossip, a snake, and a bish. Biasha started counting with his fingers.
Сенечка, Вова, Семён, Катя. 4 человека, на.
Yeah, 4 people have been missing. Roma slammed his hands on the desk.
Так, пацаны, отныне смотреть в оба.
Right.
Далеко друг от друга не отходим, как в дурацких ужастиках.
That's very true. They always seem to do that.
На остальных мне плевать, но вас я в обиду не дам.
Oh, that's nice.
Как и Полинку.
And Polina. I hope your relationship works out. I had already forgotten that I was ever into Polina. The only girl occupying my thoughts after last night was Elisa. The boys went to the cafeteria and I was left alone, scribbling in my notebook, drawing rows of pines and 2 small figures, flying beneath the treetops and the full moon. Shivers ran up to my shoulders, sneaking playfully under the hem of my shirt. Even though soaring through the sky felt so simple, there was still something evil weighing me down. The culprit was definitely still in the village. They were hiding something horrible under a mask of piousness? I've never heard that word before, or piousness?
Рисуешь?
Polina! Embarrassed, I covered the notebook as if there was something shameful about the figures above the forest.
Да ничего, так, дурака валяю.
Polina, I've seen cosplays of these characters. They are so good. They look exactly like the characters here. I love the art style of this game so much. Polina put her elbows on the desk. I had already forgotten how light and graceful she was, just like a violin. I wish she could also jump around with us after stripping away her mask of fake mundanity. I smiled, imagining Polina's skirt flapping in the wind, the stars sparkling all around us, her asking in bewilderment whether it is all a dream, and myself telling her that it doesn't matter. Polina's expression grew dark again.
Уже слышал про Катю?
Yes, we have.
Ужасно.
Да. Ужасно еще и то, что Катю мне жалеть сложно. Я правда ищу в себе сострадание, но вспоминаю ее поступки и...
Polina shook her head.
Я чудовище, да?
No, I thought. You're one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met, but alas, you're only number 2 on that list. Number 2? I decided not to say that out loud. Oh yeah, because Elisa as well. Ouch.
Плохо, наверное, что исчезновение анкеты расстроило меня больше, чем пропажа одноклассницы.
My nostrils picked up the smell of candy, tree resin and fireworks.
Ты потеряла анкету?
Да, и кто-то сейчас читает чужие секреты.
Oh. Yes, the forest, I thought, imagining the crooked branches turning notebook pages, touching the childish handwriting with their icy twigs.
Надеюсь, ее найдут.
I was unsure whether she spoke about Katya or her notebook. I wanted to ask her about it, but then I noticed Polina's intense stare directed at me.
Что?
Ты будто изменился.
I smoothed my hair flat, surprised.
Просто не выспался.
Сегодня ты точно какая-то другая мелодия. Очень древняя, таинственная.
I thought about the flute's melody streaming between the bushy treetops.
Надеюсь, ты никому не рассказал про наш вчерашний разговор?
Что ты?
She nodded as if acknowledging that she can fully trust me. I was unsure whether I merited such trust.
А может, погуляем после уроков?
Ooh.
Дедушка чувствует себя лучше. Я могу задержаться вечером.
Her hair cascaded down around her shoulders. The smell was so wonderful that it sent me flying toward the glowing stars of my inner cosmos without any magic. You know, I've noticed Anton is so poetic with his words, and I love it. It's so cool.
Конечно. Только давай пойдем через запасной выход. Ну, тот возле спортзала.
Okay.
Прячешься от кого-то?
Yeah, who are you hiding from? I shifted my gaze to the desk in front of me. My buddies left us alone, giving me an ample opportunity to betray them. Oh. Guilty conscience gripped my heart in its tiny jaws.
Так это из-за Ромки? Не хочешь, чтобы он узнал?
Yeah.
Ты ему нравишься.
Aw.
Сложно не заметить. Но парни всегда забывают о главном. Сначала надо спросить мнение девушки. А девушка говорит, после уроков у запасного выхода.
Ah. I smiled, relieved. Oh, hello. Guilty conscience returned to devour my heart the moment Romka came back and tossed a lingonberry bun my way, winking.
Ешь. Набирайся сил для нашего спектакля.
Little play. Yet I, the actor that was supposed to play the villain, didn't show up for that play. I left the school early, 20 minutes before the algebra class was supposed to end. I lied to the teacher about having a toothache. I hid behind the bushes near the school like some criminal. Polina soon arrived. Ooh, nice coat. Do I need to click?
Эй, я тут!
Oh. She was just staring at me like...
Ты б еще в сугроб зарылся.
I realised I was trying to play both sides here, secretly win Polina over without losing Romka's support. I wonder what will happen if any of them find out about my scheme.
Пойдем скорее.
Okay.
Ну, пойдем.
I love her hat. Her beanie is so cute. We started walking along the school's football field. The sun was bright, but it did nothing to warm the frozen soil. The twilight hid in the thicket, anxiously waiting for the moment when it could come out and devour the village.
Я уже отвык от городского шума. Здесь всегда так тихо.
О, а я мечтаю о какофонии.
А чём?
Cacophony. My companion burst out laughing.
Какофония — это случайное сочетание звуков. Дедушка учит находить мелодию во всем.
Он у тебя философ.
Краевед был раньше.
Он, наверное, классный.
Не то слово. Скоро я вас познакомлю.
Okay.
Ты меня в гости приглашаешь?
А ты против?
Нет, конечно, нет.
I kept sneaking glances at Polina. She was like a precious gem, its sides gleaming, shimmering, changing ever so slightly. What? Her eyes, full of innocent laughter, asked me. Nothing, I replied without speaking.
Ты смелый. Мне это нравится.
Смелый?
Я до сих пор вспоминаю, как ты Бабурина осадил.
Yeah. How we fought back with Baburin, okay?
Пустяки.
So we fought back. I'm guessing that
Знаешь,
was a
как для
choice.
девочек важно, чтобы их защищали.
Yeah, I think I remember punching him.
Заступиться за тебя — честь.
Yeah, I think I remember. Yeah. I remember we stood up to him and punched him, and then that's when Romka and the other boy, they started to beat him up. I think that's what happened from what I remember. Yeah.
Вот, я же говорю. Изъясняешься словами из романов. Это честь для меня, моя госпожа.
Polina started giggling. I fake pouted, but couldn't keep myself from smiling in the end. That's cute. The village looked abandoned, desolate. I hear a doggo. Rickety fences, ravines full of garbage. This place probably looks nice in the summer since it's full of greenery, but during winter, under the icy crust, under the snowy blanket, I turned around from time to time to check if my good friends who weren't good or friendly to me anymore were following in my wake. Dogs barked and clanged their chains behind the fences, but they grew quiet the moment we reached the next house.
Представь, что это призраки цепями звенят.
О, а я обожаю сказки про призраков. Дедушка часто мне их рассказывает.
She stopped in front of a small but cozy looking house with a snow-covered roof, then put her hand on the small gate. Her eyes piercing me as if trying to peek into the depths of my soul.
Вот я все вспоминаю дедушку. Говорю, какой он хороший, заботливый, умный. Но это только половина правды. В последнее время он немного...
She paused, searching for the right words.
чудной? Да, пожалуй.
Hmm.
Стал таким с годами. Так что ничему не удивляйся.
Okay.
Так точно, ничему не удивляться.
Вольно!
We walked towards the house on a thin, cleaned path. Polina unlocked the door. The long hallway was full of shadows. The door slammed shut behind our backs, cutting us off from the roaring wind and all other outside sounds. The place became so silent that I could hear Polina's heart beating. I wanted to cover it with my hand and feel it in my palm with my lifelines. Lifeline. One of the most significant signs in the practice of palmistry. A divinatory art that interprets the distinctive features of each hand. Oh, that's really cool. Oh boy, this game is
Ты всегда
loud.
так застываешь? Как будто у тебя в голове стоп-кран нажали.
Okay, that's a bit better.
Фантазия рисует всякие картинки.
А, понимаю.
She took off her coat and hanged it on a wall hook.
Раздевайся, разувайся. Я пока в комнате приберусь. Дедушка, бывает, вещи свои оставляет, где попало.
Mm-hmm.
Я быстро.
Oh, she's got one of those Russian dolls on the floor. We used to own one of those. She floated away, light as a butterfly. Another butterfly, of a steel kind, had a real chance of floating inside my gut in the near future. I took off my coat, untied my shoelaces. A tiny squeak reached my ears. Ooh. Oh. If one were to stand in front of the phone, the wallpaper patterns would look like a set of watchful eyes. So this is the place Polina called me from. She stood right here, under the electric meter, among the shadows, twirling the phone cord. Maybe she even played with the light switch, turning the lights off at times and speaking to me in the dark. A pair of tourist skis. Dad told me stories of how he would make his own skis and ski poles, and even his own ski wax from beeswax, rosin and pine resin. A good fit for the harsh winters around here. But these skis are in need of maintenance. These skis are in need of maintenance. The bindings are in very bad condition, and they have dark red spots on them. Probably just rust. That painting. Oh, I thought that it looked like, do I want to do that? Wow, there's so much junk here, just like in a junk shop. Or like at the village cemetery dump, where people throw away plastic flowers, splinters from rotten crosses and dirty stripes, with gilded words of condolences. Why did I think Polina's grandpa brought all of this from a cemetery dump? Those don't have toys, or a tambourine like in those books about northern shamans. And this, what was it called again? A dream catcher, I think. It didn't catch any dreams, but it did catch a haymaker spider. And the stench. No wonder I can hear flies buzzing in this place, even in the middle of winter. It smells like thawed lard and wet soil. I guess you just get used to it if you stay here long enough. Ew. I was worried that something was going to happen. I know this painting, Paganini, I hope I'm saying the name correctly, The guy was so good at playing the violin that other people had decided he sold his soul to the devil. This portrait was drawn by Nikolai Fechin. He was a famous Russian painter that moved to America after the revolution and became famous there. Wow, Paganini has such long fingers. And such a piercing stare. What is he looking at? Maybe he did sell his soul after all. Would Polina sell hers, I wonder? I've got 2 more things to look at. I don't get why adults hang something like this in their homes. Crooked, sharp outgrowths. I've read that animals don't get hurt when their horns that had already hardened get trimmed. Still, it's the same as plastering your wall with clipped fingernails. They are also cornified objects that were once part of a living organism. Yeah, that's true. Oh, the reflections in this mirror are so sharp and deep. My gaze drowns in it. Oh, it feels more like a doorway than a mirror, with an identical room with skis and sticky to the touch wallpaper behind it. And the electric meter, which barely worked during the last month, as if Polina and her grandpa spend their evening in complete darkness. And then, oh god. Ooh, wow. Phew, just a hunting trophy. Jesus. Achievement unlocked, hoggers. Oh my god. Nothing else for me to look at. Okay, so let's wait. I looked into the deeper part of the house while taking off my boots. Semi-dark masked the corner at the end of the corridor. Something moved toward me, making the dry floorboards squeak. Squeak, squeak. Squeak, squeak. The sound grew louder. It's the grandpa. I realised that I stepped back toward the door without thinking.
Polina?
No, I don't think that's her. Oh! A wheelchair appeared from around the corner. A stocky old man protruded from the darkness.
Ты, должно быть, одноклассник моей Полли.
Mm-hmm.
Да, Антон Петров.
We shook hands. His grip was surprisingly firm.
Очень приятно. Очень.
Mm.
А я Харитон.
Харитон.
Греческое имя значит щедрый.
Ooh, nice. Ah.
А твое имя знаешь, что обозначает?
Никогда не задумывался.
I don't know, to be honest, with mine.
От латинского «антео» — тот, кто вступает в бой.
Oh. I chuckled in reply. Apparently my name has brave roots.
А Полина?
Полина французского происхождения. Если не ошибаюсь, солнечная.
Sunlight. Of course, the sunlight, the enchanting views of France, the Parisian sky, all of that sounded like Polina.
Вы так много знаете об именах.
Я каждой своей кукле особенное имя давал.
Кукле?
Полина не рассказывала? Я же кукловодом работал.
That's cool.
Потом сторож с сигаретой тлеющей уснул, сам погиб, и театр сгорел до основания.
Oh, he sounds sad. By the way, the man who voiced this character died a few months after the voice acting. Oh, that's sad. I think he did a great job from what I'm hearing so far. He sounds amazing. Oh, that's so sad.
Куклы мои сгорели.
All my dolls burnt down. Oh.
Жаль.
I was pretty sure that Polina told me her grandpa was a local historian. Oh yeah. Then why would he tell us that he was a puppeteer? He squinted.
А знаешь ли ты, Петров Антон, что в старину у людей два имени было? Настоящее и то, что они называли незнакомцем. Считалось, что подлинное имя, попав к нехорошим людям, могло обернуться против человека. По имени насылали хвори и даже смерть.
Okay.
Ого.
Вот тебе и ого! И зверям имена придумывали не просто так. Заяц от литовского «зайсти», прыгун, то есть, а волк — старославянское «влек», тот, кто таскает.
Okay, let's have a look at what that means. Zayat's Volk. Bunny and wolf. Right, I see. Bunny and wolf. Kariton drove closer and crossed his hands on his chest. I wondered to myself where Polina's parents were. She never spoke about her mum, only her grandpa. I decided to ask a question to continue the conversation.
А медведь?
О, имя медведя неизвестно. Наши предки так боялись этого зверя, что предпочли забыть слово, которым его величали. Оно просто сгинуло из языка. Вместо него осталось более позднее прозвище — «ведающий медом».
One who oversees the honey. A pun based on the two syllables that make up the Russian word for bear, one of which means honey while the other means to have knowledge of something, to oversee something. Okay.
Интересно.
It does sound interesting, yeah. The old man's smile became wider, revealing a stockade of metal implants. He raised his hand and waved it in the air like a rake that was scratching at empty space.
Скирлы, скирлы, скирлы.
I'm getting weird vibes off this grandpa, not gonna lie. The squeaking sound made me shrink instinctively.
То я медведь на липовой ноге, на березовой клюке.
Here comes the bear. Old Russian folktale. A story of a bear that steals turnips from a village. One of the bear's hind legs and gives it to his wife to make soup from the meat and cloth from the wool. The bear later returns to the village with a fake hind's leg to exact his revenge on the family, only to fall into the cellar inside the house and get killed by villagers. Well, that's kind of sad. That bear just wanted turnips.
Все по селам спят, по деревням спят. Одна баба не спит, на моей коже сидит. Мою шерстку придет, мое мяско жрет.
If this was what Polina warned me about, I had already broken my promise. It's not like I got surprised, more like I became seriously concerned.
По легенде, именно в нашей деревне приключилась эта страшная сказка, как и многие другие. Вот, к примеру, в прошлом веке простому люду тяжко пришлось. Денег у них тогда мало было, а еды и того меньше, точь-в-точь, как сейчас. Подались тогда крестьяне разбойничать, тайгу обворовывать. Кто карася ухватит, а кто и гуся. А главный егерь мало того, что не препятствовал, так еще в первых рядах браконьерствовал. Самым зажиточным стал на селе. погреб, того и гляди лопнет. Так и кричал егерь на всю округу: «Я в лесу хозяин!» Обзавелся он, значит, семьей, слугами, да каким-никаким имением. И на радостях пир закатил горой аж до самой ночи. А как 12 пробило, собаки залаяли. «Идите, — кричит егерь слугам, — собакам кости бросьте!» Через время в ворота застучали.
God, that sounded like my door.
«Идите, — кричит семье, — гостей прогоните!» Остался он за столом один. Никто воротиться не спешит. Слышит, собаки завыли и смолкли. И тут со страшной силой в дверь забарабанили.
Jesus.
Бах, бах, бах!
I licked my parched lips and instinctively looked over the old man's shoulder, praying in my mind that Polina would come back soon and interrupt this eerie monologue. Yet only shadows writhed behind Kariton's back.
Егерь от страха едва живой в погреб помчался. Замком щелк, вдруг голос из-за двери. «Милый, это я, жена твоя, отвори!»
Nah, that ain't your wife.
«В жизнь не открою!» Голос стал грубее, напористее. «Изголодалась я, любимый, дай хоть чего-то из закромов!» «Уйди, уйди, Христом заклинаю!» — закричал егерь и упал молиться. Тогда голос как гром грянул: «Целиком не выйдешь, хоть кусок мне отрежь!» Егерь вне себя от ужаса просидел в подвале до первых петухов. А как показаться отважился, то нашел своих слуг и родных повешенными на собственных кишках вдоль тракта.
Jesus.
Глядь, а в имении уже дикие звери хозяйничают.
Our wolf and bear.
Потому что нету тайги границ. Она частично в нашем мире, а отчасти там, где ночь никогда не кончается.
God, the way that's moving like that is messing with my eyes right now. But it's such a cool effect.
Егерь пытался, сломя голову, бежать из проклятой деревни, но истинный хозяин леса настиг его в пути.
I spoke in a shaky voice.
И что же с ним сделал этот хозяин леса?
The old man tilted his head and burst out laughing.
Спроси его, что он мне сделал?
Let him live, I guess.
Антон!
The old man's eyes pinned me to the door leaf.
Антон, проходи в комнату!
Save me! The old man stayed silent for a moment. Then he smiled as if nothing ever happened and rolled his wheelchair back.
Ну, заболтал я тебя. Ступай.
God. I brushed off my stupor and minced across the corridor.
Приятно было познакомиться.
И мне, Петров Антон, и мне.
I don't trust him. kitty! Oh my god. I felt relieved when I finally slipped into Polina's room. It looked just like its owner, cute and tidy. A huge collection of vinyl records and a record player immediately caught my attention. The walls were adorned by framed photographs.
Дедушка тебя не сильно донимал?
No.
Нет, он очень интересный.
Небось, ты теперь знаешь все о своем имени.
I forced out a laugh. My eyes slid across the photos. Wait, can I examine the cat? I'm sorry, but if I were Anton, I would have examined the cat first. I would have been like, you have a cat. I'm clicking on the cat, but nothing's happening. A Sailor Moon poster. Oh, nice. This cartoon is for girls. Transformers are way better, and drawing them is much more interesting, especially when they transform, when they change shape. You can't deny Sailor Moon has a really cool theme tune, though. Although, if Polina had the 2x2 channel on her TV and she invites me to watch it together, I won't refuse. In the name of the moon, I shall punish you. Piano. A Kuzbaz piano? Kuzbaz? Piano. Not a speck of dust on the cover. This is the place where she practices. Let's see what pieces she has in her music sheets. Handel's Capriccio Sol Minor. Looks like the name of a pizza Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would eat. Meanwhile, I won't even be able to play a flea waltz. I do miss playing piano. I'd love to get a piano in future just to play again. Too busy talking away. A bit too old-fashioned, but I like it. Let's see what Polina has in her collection. Vinyl records from Melodia and some much rarer ones from Jugoton, a company in Yugoslavia. Rachmaninoff, Sviridov, Verdi's arias performed by Hibla Gersmova. Only classics, no Toto Kutogno, no Demis Roussos. I do apologise if I am mispronouncing these words poorly, because I've never heard these words before, so I could be pronouncing them incorrectly, so I apologise for that. She even has some bone music? Recordings made with an electro recorder over X-ray shots. The needle slides on the picture of someone's ribs, and you hear David Oistrakh playing a violin. Okay. Anything else? That's it. Okay, examine the photo.
А это твои родители?
Polina looked down.
Да. Они погибли много лет назад.
Oh,
Я их практически не помню.
О,
I'm sorry. I felt like a total idiot. I could have guessed Polina was an orphan.
мне очень жаль.
Спасибо. Дедушка воспитывал меня как родную дочь. Никогда не устану благодарить его.
Представляю, каково тебе пришлось.
Polina flashed me with a sad smile and brushed off a mischievous lock of hair off her face.
Давай не будем о грустном.
Sure.
Познакомься с Джоанной.
Is that the cat? Yes! Get to meet the kitty. Oh my god, it's beautiful. Oh my god. I bent down to take a better look at the cat that was snuggled up beside the radiator.
Привет, Джоанна.
Hello. Oh. Okay. The cat hit her tail on the radiator's fins, then hissed, showing her fangs.
Прости, она не особо дружелюбна.
Understandable. I'll give her space.
К такой реакции я привык.
Hmm.
Что за имя, Джоанна?
God, I love the way that Polina has been drawn here. She looks so pretty.
Тебе не надоело говорить про имена? Джоанна из сериала «Элена, ребята». Смотрел?
Helen and the Boys. It rings a bell. French TV series targeted at teenagers that was broadcast all over Europe. Most Eastern European countries in the middle of the 1990s. I feel like if I were to look up Helen and the Boys, I might recognize it because the name rings a bell to me. It sounds familiar. Like I've heard it somewhere before. I snorted.
Это для девочек.
Anton, please.
Ой, подумаешь, я вот и трансформеров смотрю.
Oh,
Да ладно, кто твой любимчик?
Optimus Prime.
Ты меня проверяешь? Допустим, Мегатрон.
Megatron.
Ага. А говорила, что не любишь плохих парней.
Да, но вот ему удалось растопить мое сердечко.
Polina grabbed at her chest in a comical manner.
Ты знала, что Оптимус и Мегатрон были друзьями и боролись вместе против руководства Кибертрона?
Yes.
Но после того, как лидером избрали Оптимуса, Мегатрон перешел на темную сторону.
Боюсь, что у тебя с Пятифановым повторится та же история.
I raised my eyebrows in surprise.
Ну, лидером меня никто не выбирал.
Допустим, я выбрала.
My face had probably turned red again. Polina sat down on the couch and fixed the bedspread.
Чем займемся?
Teach me to play piano? Her pose and playful gaze hypnotized me. Wait, so... Does she sleep on the sofa then? That's kind of sad. Dimmed lights helped create a special exciting atmosphere inside the room. I felt a faint aroma of blackberry, but also something more elusive and captivating. Oh my god. My favourite perfume has blackberry aroma in it, and I just instantly thought of that. It is the most gorgeous perfume I've ever worn. It's by Lancome, and it's so beautiful. It's got like the best smell ever. At that moment, my usual embarrassment suddenly morphed into some unexplainable... I always have trouble saying this word. I either say vigor or vigor. I wanted to show off and brag, to do everything in my power to keep Polina's gaze fixed on me for as long as possible. I imagined myself to be like Agent 007, ready to... I don't know why that made me giggle. I imagined myself to be like Agent 007, ready to seduce another femme fatale with his stunning looks. As if mimicking the hero of spy action movies, I crossed my hands on my chest and, with a mysterious smile on my face, decided to lean against the wall. I thought to myself to be quite charming at that particular moment. Whoops! Yet a clanking sound stopped me from enjoying this graceful pose. I failed to notice an open piano and sat right down in the middle of its keys. Oh no. Ah! Oh, the noise. I love it. I had lost all of my charms after almost reaching the ceiling in one scared jump. Oh god. Followed by the instrument's lid slamming shut with a bang. At the same time, a frightened Joanna jumped off the chair. Well done, Anton. Now you scared the cat. The cat rushed up the curtain and then dashed across the wall to the safety of the wardrobe's top, ripping out thin slices of wallpaper along the way. Oh no, not Sailor Moon. Pieces of a torn up Sailor Moon poster that by pure chance happened to be in the way of the scared animal fell to my feet. Judging from the look on Paulina's face, she really liked that poster.
Прости, я не хотел.
She closed her eyes, her lips twisted and forehead wrinkled. Seemed like Polina was about to scream or cry, but she just sighed and spoke in a calm voice.
Не беда.
I'll get you a new one.
Нет такой поломки, которую нельзя починить с помощью изоленты.
Or that, yeah.
Ну, в этом случае с помощью скотча. Давай, помогай.
See, there's always a solution. Oh, we get to do it together? Nice. Okay. This is a really pretty poster. That goes to it. Oops, I disconnected it now. Great. Let me just find the bits that... There we go. So, connect that. Put that over there. I think maybe that'll go there. Here. And here. Brilliant. The last piece fell in its place, and it seemed like the room's harmony was restored along with the poster.
Это же персонаж из Sailor Moon? Sailor Юпитер или как там ее?
Mm-hmm.
Да нет же, это Сейлор Сатурн. Ее зовут Хатару. Она воин разрушения, который вместо того, чтобы уничтожить мир, спасла его.
Hotaru. I don't remember much about Sailor Moon, so I couldn't really remember which one she was.
Мне она всегда больше всех нравилась. Вот. А еще у нее раздвоение личности, представляешь?
Ooh.
По крайней мере, было. Джоанна порвала ее на дюжину личностей, не меньше.
I glanced at Polina and inquired in a soft voice.
Расскажи, как проходят твои вечера.
Polina shrugged and looked at me as if bored.
Смотрю телевизор или играю дедушке на скрипке.
That sounds nice.
Он планирует сделать из меня Давида Ойстраха.
Right. One of the most prominent Russian violinists, well known for his conductor skills, died from a heart stroke hours after one of his concerts. Oh God.
Кого?
Скрипач был такой великий.
А ты что же, сама не хочешь играть?
Почему? Хочу. Это мой шанс уехать в город и начать нормальную жизнь. Гастролировать по странам, знакомиться с новыми людьми.
I'd love to do that. I want to go to TwitchCon Paris this year, but I just cannot afford it. Even though it's Paris, I could like get a train there or something, but it's so much money nowadays and it's just so unfortunate. Plus it's quite near my birthday too, and I'm already planning on going to London to go to the Tomb Raider experience because I just really want to go there. It'll be so fun. So hopefully it will happen. I felt a sting of stupid jealousy from her words.
Поиграешь для меня?
Ooh, okay.
Ты точно этого хочешь?
Yes.
Очень.
Yes.
Хорошо. Только учти, я сегодня не в форме.
That's fine. She procured the violin from its case. The polished frame glimmered in the lamplight.
Это необычная скрипка. Ее смастерил в 17 веке скрипичных дел мастер Гварнери, а сам Ойстрах дал на ней первый концерт.
Wow. That must have been expensive to get.
Она дорогая?
Hmm.
Ну, пару миллионов долларов стоит.
Nah. My jaw dropped. Polina replied with laughter. She's got to be kidding.
Видел бы ты свое лицо.
Thought as much.
Я шучу. Копейки она стоит.
Hmm.
Если бы у меня была скрипка Гварнери, я бы жила в Москве.
А я и не повелся.
Конечно, конечно.
You nearly fooled me for a minute, though, to be fair. Polina took a proper playing pose and clutched the violin between her shoulder and jaw, then brought the bow to the strings.
Фа диез минор.
Oh, I like the way she said that. The bow slid across the strings, saturating the air inside the room with music. Oh, that sounds lovely. I sat on the windowsill, amazed at the melody's power. Polina looked so graceful while playing. Her bow soared, it cut open space-time. Her slender fingers moved with inhuman speed. A phantom smile smouldered on the girl's lips. It felt like the music, that mysterious Fa diez minor, was akin to a gust of wind that found its way inside the house, bringing along smells of the sea and faraway cities. And every new gust made it even more difficult to breathe for my enthralled self. The melody carried me up to the skies, bringing back memories of that night when I was jumping over the forest. But just like everything good, it ended way too fast. Polina froze for a moment, then lowered her hand and bowed. The waterfall of her fragrant hair swayed back and forth. I jumped up, clapping.
Браво! Кто это сочинил?
Роберт Шуман.
А вот кто теперь мой любимый композитор.
The second syllable turned into an incredulous cry when someone wailed under my foot. You stepped on the cat's tail, didn't you? Joanna! Oh no! I forgot all about the cat in all my excitement and ended up stepping on her tail. You know, I thought when he stood up he seemed too close to the cat. Oh dear. She didn't give me the time to apologise. Joanna crawled up my leg and clung to my thigh. Her sharp claws pierced my skin through the pants. I hate to say it, Anton, but you kind of deserved it. That cow was just chilling. Polina came to my rescue by slapping the cow on the back of her head.
Джоанна, гадость какая, брысь!
The cat jumped on the wall rug and I keep having trouble saying retreated. I always say retweeted. I'll say that again. The cat jumped on the wall rug and retreated from the room after opening the door with her paw. I winced when touching my thigh. It was probably quite scratched up. Polina gave me a sympathetic hug. No.
Больно?
Да так, я сам виноват.
Ой, я ей покажу, как бросаться на моих гостей.
Don't kill it, please. I was worried less about the pain and more about the damage done to my clothes. My pants were riddled with tiny holes. Welp, Mum will sure be happy about this. At the same time, Polina's attention was flattering.
Твоя Джанна, дама с характером.
Вы поладите.
You'll get along.
Если ты не умрешь от потери крови, конечно.
She turned around and searched the room with her eyes.
Где-то тут был йод.
That's gonna sting.
Не обязательно.
Что значит не обязательно? Еще никто не умирал в моей спальне. И я хочу, чтобы так продолжалось впредь. Снимай пока штаны.
I imagined myself standing in front of Polina in just my underwear. I imagined her bending down to treat my wounds. That fantasy scalded my mind like hot steam.
Не надо, Полина.
Good God. I mean, if you got a bathroom, he'll go in there and do it himself. She didn't listen, just soaked a piece of cotton in a brownish liquid from a small, strong-smelling bottle.
Пациент, я готова. Спускайте.
Oh god.
Серьезно, дома промою.
Yeah. My reply erased the smile from her beautiful lips. A horizontal wrinkle ran across her nose bridge. She spoke in a voice with a tinge of capriciousness.
Перестань сопротивляться. Дай я тебе помогу.
Polina, no means no. She rubbed my leg lower than where my wound was.
Девочкам нельзя отказывать.
Polina. Polina took a bold step toward me and grabbed the buckle of my pants belt. Oh my god. I tried dodging, but to no avail. This feels wrong. The girl was already behind me. She placed her fingers under the belt and tried to pull down my pants.
Ах ты ж...
She giggled. I spun around and Polina pressed her body into mine, bursting with laughter. She sank her teeth into my arm ever so slightly and tugged on the belt. Oh god. I stepped back, stumbled upon the couch, and ended up sprawled on its soft surface. Polina landed on top of me. Her hair covered my face and tickled my nostrils. I feel very uncomfortable right now. I felt the vibrations coming from Polina's chest. She was laughing. I also felt the chilly draft with the exposed skin of my thighs. She managed to pull down my pants after all. I lay underneath her, partially naked, dying from embarrassment. Polina pulled away, her laughter died down. She blew a lock of hair away from her face and looked me straight in the eye, then pressed her small fist into her cheek and measured my face with a thoughtful glance.
Ты чего?
Ничего. Красивый ты.
Well, that's nice.
Скажешь тоже.
Честно-честно. И знаешь, мне кажется, что я все эти годы ждала, когда ты в поселок приедешь.
My heart was thumping in a crazy rhythm. I felt it under my ribs, in my temples, all over my body. I completely forgot that I was lying underneath her without my pants on, rubbing my bare thigh against her leg.
Мне хорошо с тобой.
И мне.
Aww. Well, that's nice, I guess.
Я встретила человека, который меня понимает. Это дороже скрипки Гварнери.
I shifted my gaze to her lips. They were so close that I could see even the tiniest of wrinkles on their surface, just as parched as my own lips. Oh. I guess we're gonna kiss Polina. Polina lowered her eyelids, eyelashes fluttered. Our lips touched. Well, I felt dizzy, as if I was falling into a bottomless pit. Every cell in my body sang in jubilation, as if I was getting a taste of the most beautiful music, something even more perfect than Schumann's melody. And then I looked in the mirror, mounted on the wardrobe's door. Oh no. No, no, no. I mean, if it's the cat, then... but it's probably the grandpa. Oh god. It reflected a half-open door and the corridor's gut. Oh no! Keraton was peeping at us through the crack! Go away, grandpa! Oh no! His grim face floated in the black waters of darkness. His eyes pierced me much deeper and angrier than feline claws. Oh god. After getting his cover blown, the old man drove back away from the door and dissolved into tarry shadows. Well, that's awkward and scary. I parted my lips from Polina's, distraught. I had to interrupt our sweet kiss. Polina gave me a questioning look and spoke in a frustrated voice.
В чем дело?
Your creepy old grandpa was staring at us? I untangled myself from her, stood up, trying to put my pants back on, and fastened the belt on my third attempt.
Ни в чем. Я вспомнил просто. Пообещал маме вернуться к ужину.
Не уходи.
Полин, послушай.
Не уходи, Тош.
Her voice trembled, silvery streams ran down her cheeks. I was taken completely by surprise. Polina's mood shifted in an instant, just like topics in her grandpa's monologue. Still, her grandpa was old and weird, and she...
Забери меня с собой.
Ты чего, Полин? Ну перестань.
Oh no. I leaned into her, worried.
Ну хватит, правда. Все же хорошо.
Я здесь с ума сойду. Не знаю, руки на себя наложу.
Please don't do that.
Не говори так.
Oh, I got the chills. She plopped on the bed, face in her hands, sobs turned into stifled cries. Oh wow. I shuffled my feet, puzzled, with no idea how to react. Console her maybe, Anton?
Давай сбежим. Завтра же соберем вещи и уедем в город.
Нам по 12 лет.
12! You know, I forgot that... Well, I didn't forget, but I knew that they were very young. But I didn't think they were that young. I thought they were like 16 or something. They're 12. They are so young.
И что? Тебе нравится жить в хибаре у леса?
6th grade, yeah.
А мне, думаешь, по нраву гнить, заточенный в 4 стенах?
Her back arched, her small fists pummeled the couch. Oh, I feel bad for her.
Если ты мужчина, уведи меня из этого места.
You need to leave, my inner voice blurted out. I couldn't help but agree.
Прости, тебе надо отдохнуть. Поговорим позже.
Yeah, she's not gonna like that. I went into the corridor, mumbling. I might have acted like a coward, but I couldn't handle her fit of hysteria anymore. I put on my coat, shoved my feet down my boots. Oh god. I stared at the darkness, imagining a man-eating bear. I could hear Polina's cries coming from the other side of the wall while something was squeaking its way toward me. The wheelchair stopped 7 feet away on the border between light and darkness.
Уходишь? Так быстро?
Yes. I replied in a mumbling voice while tying my shoes.
Простите, мама будет беспокоиться.
He is really creepy. I got weird vibes off him as soon as he started speaking.
Ты знаешь настоящее имя своей матери? Петров Антон.
Shadows swelled behind Cariton. I craved to leave this eerie place as soon as possible.
Нет, простите.
Don't bring my mama into this. I started apologizing left and right, anxious.
Почему плачет Полина? Что случилось?
Oh god. Metal teeth shined in the dark.
Пойдем на кухню. Чай пить будем.
No. I kinda want to go home.
Я тортик разрезал.
Well, now that you mention it, I can't turn down cake.
Меня ждут.
Yeah.
Подождут и перестанут. Ну, пойдем, пойдем. Ха.
He let out a dissatisfied sob. I finally managed to fix the shoelaces, so I sprang to my feet. The old man kept a strenuous smile on his face. I've already cut up the cake, and the knife is still with me. Oh god. I turned my back on him, my fingers struggled with the lock.
Скарлы!
Oh, stop talking. I'll be forced to stay, driven over by a wheelchair, dragged away.
Скарлы!
The door opened, letting chilly air inside the stuffy corridor.
Как твое настоящее имя?
До свидания.
Okay. Leaving. Never coming back. Going back home now. I flew to the porch, to the trail that snaked between the houses. While I was at Polina's place, I think that's meant to say Polina. While I was at Polina's place, darkness had shrouded the village with its crow-like wings. The howling wind made it feel alive, conscious. Lamplights, firmly embedded into the night, emanated a faint glow. I wiped my forehead. What was that? Why did Polina throw such a tantrum? And the old man who was peeping at us. No wonder she wanted to run away so badly. Yeah, I think I'm starting to get that vibe that he's more than what we've seen from him. Oh god. That's creepy. As soon as I remembered Karaton's metal teeth, goosebumps started running all over my skin. Romka? I shuddered and looked around. A fuzzy silhouette appeared near the fence.
Кто здесь?
Yeah, it's Romka. A person stepped toward me into the ring of light. My soul almost left my body. I recognized Romka. His cheeks were wet, his eyes reddened. Oh no. He cried while hiding in the dark.
Ну, привет.
Why were you crying?
Что ты тут делаешь?
Да вот, ты не пришел на наш спектакль. И я волновался, что с тобой что-то случилось. Как с Семеном и Катей.
Oh god. I heard a click, saw the shine of a butterfly knife. Oh no. Roma's bloodless lips stretched into a scary grimace. His pupils glinted like a pair of coins.
Ром, убери нож.
Yeah, we could talk about this.
Зачем? Как без ножа я смогу разрезать тебя от пупка до глотки и проверить, что внутри у предателей?
Oh no.
Рома!
I backtracked, afraid of turning my defenseless shoulder blades toward him. Roma advanced toward me, scowling. Saving! This is gonna go both ways, I assume?
Был у нее дома, да?
No.
Правая рука Вольтрона. Говорит центр управления, как слышно.
What?
Ты был у моей Полины? Рисовал ее? Трогал?
I didn't draw her.
Все не так.
I lied, of course. He got it right. In fact, I was even more guilty than that.
Жалкий ублюдок.
Oh no, we're dead. White bubbles formed at the edges of his mouth. Oh god. He wiped off his face with a jerky motion, smearing the tears all over his cheeks even more. His eyes glazed over with the fog of hatred. The steel butterfly started its slow upward movement, but then suddenly dove toward me as if somebody fast-forwarded the tape. Romka lunged at me. No! His face was the colour of wax, and his eyes had a shine of phosphorus to them. I felt his tackle and lowered my eyes. No! The butterfly was fake. Oh my god. It probably came from the prank shop, the type of toy where the blade retracts into the handle. But then I realised I was wrong. No! That the reason the blade was invisible to me was because it was plunged into my chest. It's completely inside me. No! Right between my ribs. Cold. Sharp. And only then did pain hit me. Just like thunder that takes its sweet time to hit after the lightning. No! To my surprise, the pain wasn't exactly strong, but it felt uncomfortable, sinking, reverberating in the back of my head. I grabbed Romka's forearm. He ripped the knife out of me. A dashed line of blood followed it in slow motion. The skin on the bony frame of Romka's face stretched into a grotesque grimace, his jaws wide open with threads of saliva taut between his teeth. I wanted to ask him to stop, but words got stuck in my throat. The world tilted and shook. I fell to my knees. It was suddenly difficult to breathe, as if the air in my lungs turned into vicious dough. Blood filled my mouth. Oh no. It overflowed onto the snow. Oh no. As I couldn't hold my head straight anymore, I was forced to stare at that scarlet pool. Then I plopped face first into it. Blood warmed my cheeks. I'll just lie down for a bit, and everything will be fine. It's okay, the doctors will patch me up. Romka grabbed me from behind and flipped me around in one violent motion. I saw his twisted face and his fanatical eyes. Oh no. Romka grabbed the butterfly knife with both hands, growled, and then brought the weapon down. Into my stomach. Pain consumed my consciousness. I couldn't move. I couldn't even shut my eyes, even with all the hot droplets on my pupils. The knife flew up, then pierced some sort of bubble inside me. Up. And down, and up again. Romka screamed and stabbed. He screamed and sliced. Blood splashed in my face as it streamed upward in wide scarlet stripes. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. Dozens of little fires sparked up in my head only to die out, one after another in the next moment. The parts of my brain where those weird fireflies died sank into darkness. Romka's silhouette was now blurry. My eyes stopped following the knife. I looked up. My vision slid across my killer's blood-soaked face, up toward the darkening sky. In the most fleeting of moments, I saw the life I won't be able to live. A myriad of lost opportunities. As the sole spectator in this empty movie theatre, I stared at the screen. I saw Olya growing up without me. I saw her future kids that I will never hold in my arms. My aging parents living in the house at the edge of the forest. I saw the bright galleries and exhibition halls, the walls of which will never be adorned by my paintings. The pavements of cities I will never visit. The 21st century that I will not welcome. And the universe of people and things that were now irretrievably lost for me. I saw a blinding, scorching light. I had no idea if it was in the sky or under my lowering eyelids. The knife just kept on stabbing, but the pain was gone. My body no longer mattered. The movie was over. I disappeared into the bottomless void. Oh. No way. That is awful. The police have arrested a teenager who had stabbed one of his peers during an altercation. A fight broke out between two students from the 6th grade that resulted in one of them inflicting more than 10 stab wounds on the other using a butterfly knife. The victim was then rushed to the hospital, where he unfortunately died from blood loss. The teen suspect was taken to a police station for questioning, and he later confessed to the crime. The police have opened criminal proceedings on one charge of first-degree murder. There is also an investigation planned into the school's principal and his educational work deputy to establish if one of their students freely carrying a dangerous knife constitutes criminal negligence on their part. Detectives and forensic specialists are still working at the crime scene. The end. No! Don't show Olya. No, and the parents too. No, that's so sad. No. No. Oh no. Why am I crying? Oh no. Oh no, I'm so sad. Oh, the voice acting, no. The voice acting is fantastic. I think it's the music, that's what hit me. If you had taken Polina's talisman, it would have saved you and the story would have continued. Right. I can't recall a talisman, but I have got a few saves that I have. So, True Detective 4. I'm gonna look back through my saves and see whereabouts I can grab that talisman. So if I do a search through that and take Polina's talisman, then I'll see what happens when we get back to the part where hopefully Anton doesn't die. Oh no. That's so sad. Roma in a phone conversation at the end of episode 3. And you get a different storyline. At the end of episode 3.
Что-то из мусорского?
Something from Mussorgsky. That's a new line.
Нет, пожалуй.
Huh. What does she mean by that? Then she left and Romka appeared in the doorway in her place. He plopped on the seat next to me and started whispering in my ear.
Ты с ней говорил?
Yes? Biasha walked towards us, but Romka stopped him with an angry glare.
Бяш, отвали на пару минут.
Biasha curled his lips in frustration and disappeared from the classroom. Romka returned his attention to me.
Ну, говорил или нет? Она что-то сказала про меня?
Nope. I could barely stop myself from flashing a sad, desperate smile. Romka, the leader of Team Voltron, was in love, madly in love. His gaze boiled with hope, pleas, worries. He looked like a pure, naive boy that shielded himself from the world with sports, delinquency and coldness. Could I really betray him in this moment of weakness? Could I make the right choice in a situation where nothing is right? I fake coughed before speaking.
Она спрашивала, где ты будешь после уроков.
Ooh. His face the next moment was worth the effort of telling this lie. Romka was beaming with happiness. Yay! He's not gonna kill us!
А ты что?
Сказал, что ты будешь на заднем дворе.
Right, so he'll turn up instead. Romka licked his lips in excitement. He grabbed my wrist so hard I thought it would break.
Ну, Тоха! Ну, спасибо, друг! Погнали скорее готовиться!
Glad you're happy.
Ща мы закатим такую шум-программу, что прям ого-го!
He left the classroom to join the grouchy Biasha, and I was left alone to stare blankly at Polina's empty seat. I just traded one friendship for another. Let's just hope I made the right choice. The bell's echo wandered aimlessly in school's darkest corners. I flew into the yard, with my coat still half sipped. The weather forecast didn't lie about the coming blizzard. A leaden cloud was coming at us from the north. A mighty roar bubbled inside of it. The other kids stood with their back to the wind and laughed when the gusts pushed them around the skating rink. The blizzard carried that laughter into the violet unknown. Romka rushed my way as soon as he noticed me in the tiny school backyard that was usually empty.
Готов? Точно не сдрейфишь? Второго шанса не будет.
I wasn't ready at all. My stomach stung. It wanted me to get out of here, to bail out from this stupid idea that was destined to fail from the very beginning. But I couldn't abandon Romka halfway through purely on principle. He, in the meantime, was hurriedly counting our inventory with his ink-stained fingers.
Букет есть.
The bouquet?
Маньяк присутствует.
The creep is also here.
Чё там еще?
А что с моим образом?
Oh yeah, he does have flowers.
Где мой топор или там...
Oh yeah. Because from the previous episode, they ah yeah. I remember.
Маска?
Да не гони, Тоха! Надень ту зайчью, что с собой по жизни таскаешь. Только резче! Нельзя, чтобы Полина нас видела вместе.
So, we're going to pretend to assault him and he saves himself by defending himself to make himself look strong in front of Polina. I looked at Romka with distrust, but my fingers already found the slider on the backpack's zipper and tugged at it in anticipation. Instead of getting surprised, I felt relief when I took out my real face. With it came calmness. The pain in my stomach subsided. I instantly remembered the feeling of flight, weightlessness and joy. Romka's problems seemed so yawn-inducing and insignificant now.
Давай, как репетировали.
Alright.
Только она появится.
Я прегражу ей дорогу.
Ага, а я из-за тех кустов такой бац! И на выручку. Только веди себя посмелее, Тошек. Чтоб как взаправду.
Я постараюсь себя не сдерживать.
I feel like this is gonna go poorly. This simple piece of cardboard and fur carried enough energy to compete with the blizzard's fury. I put my real face on top of my glasses, gleeful. I fixed it so my eyes would look right through the slits. Romka disappeared. In his stead, Polina walked out from around the corner, looking around warily. She had her trusty violin case with her. Fresh snow squeaked under her boots. Clouds devoured the sun, and the coming darkness turned me into a long-eared silhouette. After looking at me with suspicion, Polina started circling around the yard. Hehehe, she didn't recognize me. I stepped in front of Polina, not at all worried that my height or my clothes could give away my identity.
Ты случаем не потерялась, деточка?
She frowned and stepped back toward the bushes. Here he comes to save the day. Romka immediately appeared out of them, swearing. He moved sideways in an awkward manner like a crab, while still hiding his hand that was holding the flowers behind his back.
Эй, садись, проклятый! Пока я здесь, никто не обидит эту девушку. Понял? Ты!
I couldn't help but cringe and rolled my eyes under the mask. Romka's voice sounded fake and totally idiotic. He was way more believable during our rehearsal. It's because he's front of her. I paid it no mind and brazenly grabbed Polina by the collar, pulling her closer. My fingers ran across her silky bangs. Polina let out an angry shriek, but that only made me smirk. Oh god. I was overflowing with permissiveness and impunity. I intended to push Polina to the ground and grope her so hard I'd leave bruises. Yikes. Until the babbling Romka acquires proper acting skills, yeah.
Говорю, не тронь!
That's horrible. I didn't listen and just kept on going, drunk on my power, on Romka's confusion that stopped him from doing anything but mumbling silently to himself. And I could do anything under the guise of the bunny.
Прояви терпение, Рохля.
Damn.
Сейчас закончу с девчонкой и обязательно возьмусь за тебя.
Romka's eyes widened in surprise. I could tell he tried to keep his cool and stay true to his role for a moment. But before this amateur superhero could do anything, Polina intervened.
Так, что тут происходит? Пятифан, ты уберешь своего дружка?
I had a feeling she was going to defend herself. Polina swung her case and hit me so hard I immediately sobered up.
Я же... Он мне...
Думаете, я вчера на свет появилась? Бяша, небось? Или...
She looked at me as if her eyes could pierce the cardboard mask. Even under the dim light around us, I could see her indignant face redden.
Антон? Вот не думала, что ты такой.
I'm sorry. I started mumbling, looking for an excuse, in vain hopes that Romka would be the first to explain everything. But that failure of an actor just stared at a snow pile, his face red as a beet from embarrassment. Planning such a big show and screwing up even bigger, Polina watched us with her fists clutched before she suddenly shouted.
Клоуны!
Her loud verdict still ricocheted off the school walls like a trapped dove when Polina broke into a run on the snow-covered asphalt. Her shadow waved like the hem of a dress and disappeared around the corner. Ah, Romka hanged his head in shame. A battered bouquet plopped down in the grey muddle of wet snow.
Это фиаско, братан.
It was a pretty terrible idea, though, Romka. It was just a terrible idea. I took off the mask from my sweaty face. The wind cooled my skin. It felt like along with the mask, I took off a layer of intrusive thoughts and emotions. Romka screeched with his teeth, staring down at his feet. Lost and depressed, he couldn't counter fate's punches, unlike me. I knew how terrible he felt. He was ready to crush everything around him or bang his head against the concrete. He was ready to do anything but ask Polina to come back. He was strong and brave, but his fear of showing any weakness impeded him greatly. A possible resolution flashed in my mind. I placed my hand on Romka's shoulder.
Жди.
I sprinted across the schoolyard, trying to catch up to Polina. An echo followed my footsteps. The girl's violin case swayed like a tail of an annoyed cat.
Полин!
She slowed down, but didn't turn around.
Ну, Полин!
I could finally see her pretty profile.
Чего?
I caught up to her and carefully grabbed her by the elbow. She didn't yank it away. It was a good sign.
Ты все неправильно поняла.
Polina brushed a lock of hair off her face. I thought that she probably stole that move from one of the Sharon Stone movies. Her voice was still strict.
Что тут понимать-то? Ромка спланировал геройский поступок. В кавычках, конечно. А ты вызвался быть шутом, от которого он меня защитит. Еще и маску где-то нашел. Гадкую такую.
I wanted to shout, "It's not ugly at all," but said something completely different instead.
А вот и не поняла. Ты Ромке очень нравишься.
Curiosity flashed in her eyes. I wanted to hug Polina, steal her, and lead her into the forest. I wanted to introduce her to my new friends. I wanted the flute to sing. Polina would have surely liked its melody. I wanted us to jump high in the sky, above the clouds. There, under the stars that are pinned to the night sky, I would tell Polina how much I needed her. That she's like water, and I'm dying from thirst.
Я думала, я тебе нравлюсь.
I played dumb.
Мне?
Polina fought out of my clutches, annoyed. Oof.
Все ясно.
Да постой же, нравишься! Ты всем нравишься! Но Ромка, он особенный.
Особенный лжец.
Он целеустремленный и на самом деле серьезнее, чем кажется. Помнишь, ты говорила о побеге? С ним бы ты точно сбежала. В какой-нибудь большой сверкающий город. Да куда угодно. Он обещал защищать тебя.
Polina stared into the darkness outside the school's boundaries. There was only the wind and the swirling snow.
И что теперь прикажешь? От его обещаний детей рожать?
Для начала узнать поближе, дать ему шанс. Шутки шутками, а настоящий маньяк еще на свободе. Позволь Ромке проводить тебя сегодня.
I forced myself to speak, but my lips went numb and my face turned to stone. I was afraid that my voice would give away my true feelings. Words were like razors that cut my chest and my windpipe before scattering out of my mouth. Polina stayed silent for what felt like an eternity and beyond. She snored angrily and tapped her fingers on the black filing case. Finally, she sighed and spoke.
Передай своему Ромке, что я жду у школьных ворот. Но чтоб не думал себе всякое.
I feigned happiness. I could fake emotions if need be.
Ты не пожалеешь.
Let's hope not. I slowly shuffled my way around the corner, my eyes shut tight and my heart beating like a hammer that drove nails deep into my soul. I do feel bad for Anton. Romka sat in a squatting position, ruffling his short hair.
Она ждет тебя у ворот.
I was rewarded with the amazed look on my buddy's face. He sprang up, choking on words. Total opposite of the shut-off silent leader that I met just last week.
Тош, ты спас меня! Братан, да я теперь твой должник на века! Хочешь, я тебе Тетрис подгоню? А хочешь, научу рукопашным приемам?
I'll take the Tetris console.
Или...
I only had one dream, to be left alone. So I could watch the forest sway in the wind in complete silence. So I could breathe in the frosty smell through the old mask.
Иди уже.
I hoped that, when it comes to Elisa, I won't need to choose between friendship and my feelings. I have no one left apart from her. Aww. Well, maybe also Oya. But of course, she was my only ray of light in this pitch black tiger. How could I forget about my little sister? A reward from Roma, no knife in the stomach today. So true.
Я знаю, чего я хочу.
Romka, who already started walking, stopped and looked at me.
Я хочу оказаться вместе с сестрой в Диснейленде.
Oh. My buddy smirked and pulled his hat to the back of his head.
И что ты предлагаешь? Сберкассу обнести?
Нет, надо просто поймать маньяка.
And then you'd get that reward.
Того, кто в ответе за все эти похищения. И получить обещанную награду в милиции.
Romka winced and hid his hands in the pocket of his pants.
Думаешь, тебе этот лейтенант что-то за сотрудничество отстегнет? Подарит максимум часы командирские и будь здоров.
I got tired of arguing with Romka.
Ты поможешь мне? Да или нет?
Я сказал уже, мы команда. Куда ты, туда и я.
Хорошо. Теперь понять бы, с чего начинать.
Слушай. Бяша говорил, что слышал плач в буреломе за кладбищем. Готов поспорить, это была Катька.
I tensed up like a guitar string. Katya was a step towards Semyon, and he was a step toward Vova. We'll help the police arrest that accursed killer, and our village would stop living in fear. And then adults would lift the restrictions that prohibit Olya from going outside. And I'd finally be able to teach her how to jump to the sky with her new friends.
Как тогда будем действовать?
Так сразу не скажу, да и время поджимает. Давай пересечемся у дома Полины через час.
Okay.
Нет, лучше через 1,5. Знаешь, где она живет?
I remembered the house number I sneakily looked up in Polina's questionnaire.
Думаю, найду.
Отлично, мне пора.
Alright. And Romka sped off, leaving me alone to try and calm down my galloping heart. Ah! Biasha. Maybe now when I have Romka's support, this nightmare will finally end. Don't you try and put a knife in my stomach. Biasha, who was chewing on some sunflower seeds, grimaced as soon as I approached him.
Смотрите-ка! Явился, не запалился на.
Is he spitting out the sun? He's spitting the sunflower seeds out. Gross.
Бросили меня тут на. И срулили вдвоем.
Not great.
А еще на команда Вольтрона называется.
Biasha gave me a morose look and turned away. For a minute I pondered whether Biasha could help us search for Katya, but what if Romka's crony will only ruin everything? Invite or don't invite? Ooh. I'm leaning towards invite, because he just seems jealous. And I don't really want him to kill us out of jealousy. But at the same time, we could use some extra help with the serial killer. So, yeah, let's invite him.
Ну, Биаш, не обижайся. Ромка голову совсем потерял. Ты уж не злись на него сильно. А про тебя я помню. Вот, держи от меня подарок.
I handed my improved sketch of Voltron, a giant transformer robot made out of 5 smaller lion robots, to Biasha.
Ничего себе! Это мне на! Спасибо, Антоха! Лазил!
Oh, he's happy.
Ты чего уж там? Через 1,5 часа встречаемся у Полининого дома. Намечается срочное дело.
Biasha's face became pink from happiness.
Чем будем заниматься?
I showed him a sad smile while calculating our chances.
Постараемся не пропасть без вести.
3 Musketeers. Love it. After the longest 1.5 hours in my life, I felt like my brain was put into a blender and ground into grey mush. Anxious thoughts overlapped in my head. Katya, who went missing. The forest. The serial killer. The crypts. The graves. The crosses. Biasha crawled out of the early twilight to a block away from the place we agreed to meet at.
Чего унылый такой на? Свежих анекдотов нет?
Why, have you got some? I do like dad jokes. Right now I was happy to see even his ugly mug. That's mean. Ah,
Вся
there's
банда в
Romka.
сборе.
Bringing up Romka's date was clearly unnecessary. I could tell it went wonderful by the wide grin on his face. Romka rammed me jokingly in the side.
Ну айда, джентльмены!
Well, at least he's happy.
Этот счастливый, тот несчастный. Фиг вас поймёт на.
А ты лишний раз, Беш, не думай. А то, глядишь, последняя извилина узлом закрутится.
At the same time, the village folk cooked dinners inside their homes, watched their TVs, fought over silly things. Grim-faced men smoked on their porches. Well rollers creaked. The blizzard arched around the village. But it wasn't the blizzard that worried or scared me. The forest grew in front of our faces, and I wasn't sure if we entered it or it just devoured us with its toothy maw. Pines creaked and long shadows stretched from the taiga. They bent their trunks on both sides of the road. None of us spoke a single word when we stepped into the windbreak. Pale fog streamed above the ravines, its tails swirling in a ghostly dance. The nauseous smell of church candle wax around us muddled my mind. The snow slurped, giving way under the soles of my shoes. Bumps all around us reminded me of funeral mounds, with twisted, wilting trees acting as crosses. Darkness wailed and bubbled from underneath the frozen swamps. The wind howled in anger. Keeping track of time became meaningless. At some point, we stopped before a pile of windfall.
Значит так. Поисковая операция начинается. Далеко не разбредаемся, ищем любые следы Кати или похитителя. И желательно, пацаны, поживее! Уже через час станет темно, хоть глаз выколи.
We started carefully wadding through fallen trees in vain hope of finding at least something.
Хрена лысого мы в таких потемках найдем. Давайте уже лучше по домам.
Wait, what? Wait, we found something.
Опачки, чё тут у нас?
Ah.
А мне сегодня фартит. Братва! Я, кажись, нашел!
Nice, we found something.
Это ж Каткин кошелек!
Oh god. And then I heard a stifled scream. I had no idea who produced it. Was it Biasha, Romka, or me? Then I finally saw it with my own eyes, but I still couldn't believe them. Biasha, his hair completely white, stumbled away in horror before eventually plopping into a snow pile. I looked at his outstretched hand that pointed at the void. His fingers shook like crazy. Biasha jumped up as if something bit him and fled. Romka didn't even glance his way. He kept staring in front of himself without blinking, without breathing. I didn't even notice how my legs started carrying me towards something indescribably horrific. With an indecisive motion, I pulled away the veil of fluffy evergreen. A small clearing that was once burnt out with a precise lightning strike showed itself from behind the spruces. A circle of blackened tree stumps. And inside it, the black garage. Its smooth walls painted black. It seemed like they absorbed darkness itself, the lights flashing. It felt like the garage wasn't just a metal box that could be easily moved from one place to another. It was alive. An insect with a black glossy carapace, a gluttonous carrion. We kept staring at it, while it watched us carefully with its single red blinking eye. I tried to persuade myself that it was just a light bulb. Oh no. The low hum produced by an electric generator sounded menacing.
Открыто.
Oh no. Oh no. Save yourselves. I tried swallowing. My mouth was dry as a desert. The garage doors were open. Darkness swirled inside it. I felt someone's touch. Romka put his palm on my shoulder.
Пойдем?
No. He looked far older than his real age. Actually, he looked like a decrepit old man. Nice.
Куда? Ты что, сбрендил? Давай предупредим лейтенанта Тихонова.
Romka spat at his feet. Oh.
Не будь ты таким наивным, Тоха. Твой Тихонов вон даже варежку в лесу отыскать не смог. Ха-ха. Да и западло с ментом сотрудничать. Особенно, когда я у него на учете состою.
Oh. Oh god. The delinquent brandished his trademark knife and looked at me.
Маньяк наверняка вернулся туда, в свое логово. Если получится, возьмем его тепленьким, пока он не ждет.
You're gonna need more than a knife, I think.
Иначе в следующий раз подкараулит уже он.
The animal kid said he was just a man from the village. But can we beat him by ourselves?
Второго шанса может не быть, брат. Так что решайся.
Oh god. I mean, if I pick police station, Romka's gonna go by himself and probably get himself killed. If we go into the garage, then I guess we'll be protecting him, but I do want to see what is in the garage. Wait, I've made a separate save, so if all else goes wrong, to the police station I go. Oh god. We got closer to the building. Oh no. The metal box was completely silent, apart from the generator's hum. Romka knocked on the gate with his knuckles, as if to make sure it's not going to turn into a predatory maw. With newfound confidence, he opened the gate wider and started feeling around the wall, looking for the light switch.
Тоха, помоги-ка мне.
It turned out to be an ordinary garage on the inside. Tall shelves on both sides, canisters, rags, and a covered car. No serial killers, no murder victims. I even chuckled in relief. Similar emotions could be read from my companion's face. What if they're in the car? Romka entered the garage and went clockwise around the car. See, he's checking the car. He rummaged through the dusty shelves, then looked at me. I got brave enough to set one foot inside the garage. Darkness was plastered all over its corners like a spider web. But if there was ever a spider here, it left its nest a long time ago. Got a lot to look at. What did it grip? What crunched under the pressure of its metal maws? What poured down on the workbench from the ripping flesh? Its cast iron parts crumbled from continued use. But it was just a normal metalwork vise. We had one just like this in our shop classroom. A vise for metal parts, not for victims. Drops of oil, not blood. The surrounding dim light couldn't reach there. Anything could be hidden in the dark. What if someone is watching me from there, hiding behind silvery webs? Let me stand on my tiptoes. No, nothing but dust and old junk. I will talk to you last, Romka. Rusty tools that look like steel fangs inside the jaws of this icy plate, or like torture tools of a medieval executioner. The moment you touch these, a wound will bloom on your finger, and the resulting cut will get infected from the rust and the dried fat, and you'll rot away alive. There's also something scarlet on those pinchers. I need to go and check. Paint. It's just paint. Why does this look so much like an altar? As in, the garage is a church, and these here are the attributes of an inhuman tiger religion. I don't want to look at the icons of that beastly faith, ancient scriptures and iron relics. No, just a pile of junk. Nobody's worshipped here. Shrines like these don't exist. And there's some wax on the tabletop because they often have blackouts and the owner works in candlelight. Okay, we got this box here. Severed limbs, mounds of ground meat and heads plastered with meat flies. I'll see all of that inside this box. Just like in a nightmare, a scary version of the Field of Wonders, where the host pulls out pus oozing prizes out of a black box. In reality, the box was empty. Even if there was something inside, it was probably taken out at some point. And now the car. It's a car. What else can it be? Just a car covered in with a tarp. There was nobody inside it. No dead, no living. The stench of dried up blood. It's all in my head. The thing under the cover smells like machine oil. Nothing more. Let's talk to Romka and see... Oh, it's him spitting. I wondered what that was. Alright. Let's see what you gotta say, buddy.
Ржавый хлам.
I do notice, though, the one thing they have not pointed out is the writing on the walls and also on the ceiling.
Оказывается, это место капец какое унылое. Какому такому мудаку пришла в голову идея перевозить гараж с места на место? Пошли отсюда.
Ага. Давай догоним Бяшу. Ему крепко досталось.
Yeah, he's on his own. I went out into the snowfall. Romka was also stomping toward the exit when he suddenly stopped and stared at the car.
Слушай, а что это мы с пустыми руками будем возвращаться? Дай-ка я хоть магнитолу скручу.
There's going to be something inside the car.
Обожди минуту, я мигом.
Somebody sniffled from under the cover. Yep. I almost plopped into a snow pile from surprise.
Ты слышал? Она там.
I watched my friend tug in at the cloth, but I couldn't muster the strength to rush to his aid. My legs froze into the ground. Still, Romka managed even without me. The cover he slashed with his knife flew to the side. There was no car underneath it. Oh! Instead, as if growing out of the floor, there stood a huge meat grinder, sparkling with its well-oiled parts. Oh, God. I saw one just like this in under 16 and beyond. TV program covering the problems of the Hooves. An industrial giant that factories use to grind cow carcasses when making sausage. Inside its bowl, which reminded me of the bloodthirsty maws of a Venus flytrap, sat a tied-up Katya. Oh my god, we found her! She looked like she just snapped out of a daydream, and her eyes rounded in horror. The gag in Katya's mouth prevented her from doing anything but moaning and sniffling.
Скорее сюда!
Oh my god, we found her. Oh my god, she's actually inside. Oh my god. I threw off my stupor like a heavy tub and rushed inside the garage. In the meantime, Romka almost managed to climb the steel death machine. He grabbed Katya under her shoulders and... No! He must have pressed some sort of button with his knee. No! The mechanism started rumbling like an empty stomach. Romka realised what he had done, so he screamed.
Черт, выключи ее!
Oh no.
Я сейчас, держись!
It's no use. Oh no. Not a single damn button or a switch helped in stopping those horrible screeching wheels.
Не работает! Ни хрена не помогает!
Just pull her out.
Так помоги мне!
We bent towards Katya and tried to pull her out by the elbow. The spirals on the bottom got to work. They slowly winded up, gathering more and more speed with every turn. Oh no. Then came the crunching sound, like that of a flame eating away at firewood. Rescue? Yeah! Oh no 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 no! Oh no no no! I'm pressing it! I'm pressing it! I'm pressing it! No! Katya wailed through the gag. But the grinder didn't let go. It started to feast. Oh no. Oh, I've messed up. I screamed when I saw Katya's squashed legs getting wrapped around the grinder blades. They look like a pair of tattered stockings now. Her bones pierced the skin and poked out like pointy twigs. A white kneecap floated around in the crimson syrup. I was trying to pull Katya out, but I could tell I was losing. Oh. Oh no. Katya, I'm so sorry. The blades crushed her pelvis, the bloody gravy bubbled up. Katya kept wailing, holding the same mandolin notes. Her eyes, bloodshot from all the burst blood vessels, popped out of their sockets. The blades reached her stomach. Oh, they scooped up the glossious tubes of intestines with ease. Oh my god. Just like Oya wrapped spaghetti around her fork, the stench of entrails spread through the garage. I stopped trying to help Katya. She was clearly too far gone already. The girl's head dangled helplessly. Her murky eyes stared into space. The meat grinder chewed through Katya's ribcage and devoured her barely formed breasts. Her face darkened due to rising blood pressure. Scarlet streams ran from her eyes and ears. Katya was dead, but the machine had no intention of stopping. Hair got tangled in the blades, and the scalp got separated. From Katya's skull, with a loud smacking sound. The skin on her face slid down. The death grimace made me stagger away. I felt a pair of hands on my body, and I thought that I was also about to get thrown into the bowl as a dessert. I was about to become a part of the same mincemeat mass as Katya, but it was Romka dragging me away. I hated reading every single bit of that. From the mechanism's metal trunk, a thick blood-filled sausage with hair and bones mixed in plopped into the tray.
Какого хрена ты стоял как вкопанный? Мы же могли успеть ее спасти!
You pressed the button.
Вот уж не думал, что ты ее так сильно ненавидел.
But you saw me trying to help.
Надо убираться отсюда.
Ground meat. Hey Jay, welcome in. Oh god. Poor Katya. We stumbled out of the garage. I grabbed a handful of snow and shoved it in my mouth, then chewed on the mushy substance. Romo was on his knees, wiping his face with snow. I crawled away from the monstrous meat grinder, clinging to their ice with my nails. I coughed as if trying to expectorate the memory of what I saw. You know, I was really hungry a minute ago. I was so looking forward to dinner. I don't think I'm gonna eat now. Oh god. But I knew that I'd never forget the smell, the sound of breaking bones, and Katya's agony. Roma crawled up to me on all floors, and for a moment I felt like he lost his sanity from horror. And now he was going to tear into my throat like a wild beast. Instead, he grabbed my coat and started scrubbing scarlet drops from my sleeve with snow.
Что ты делаешь?
Никто не должен узнать.
God.
О чем ты?
Никакой милиции, слышишь? Катю по частям мы не соберем. А я не хочу сесть в тюрьму, как мой батя.
Но ты говорил...
Говорил.
He threw a hateful glare at the garage.
Я включил мясорубку.
Нечаянно.
By accident, yeah, you did.
Попробуй докажи. Им только и надо, чтобы на кого-то повесить убийство. Я за решетку пойду, а маньяк будет разгуливать на свободе.
Yeah. I mean, it was technically manslaughter, so... Yeah.
Блядь! А жизнь ведь только начала налаживаться.
Но мы не можем просто так.
Можем. Поклянись, что никому не скажешь.
He didn't say the or else part out loud, but his tone of voice clearly had that implication. I stayed silent for a minute. I spent it thinking about the bloody gravy that was flowing out of the machine. Roma was right. Even if Tikhonov believes us, the garage might be gone by that time. It would just magically teleport to some other clearing on the other side of this damn forest.
Пожалуйста! Кто-то должен защищать Полину.
Olya too, I thought while nodding slowly.
Хорошо.
I was afraid I wouldn't be able to keep my word. That mum will read it off my face, that she will notice the blood drops or sense the smell. And I'll crack. I'll just fall on the floor before her and start wailing, scared for myself and my family. At that moment, I had no idea what was actually waiting for me in the place I mistakenly called home. The front door was open and swayed slightly in the wind. I felt like my skin was getting covered in rime. I clenched my fists. Darkness oozed into the hallway, and snowflakes floated inside along with it, landing softly on the rug. Like a pack of vultures that sense their food. I imagined 3 meat grinders in different parts of the house, and 3 members of my family getting ground by their blades. I stepped into the doorway with the utmost caution. For a moment I thought I heard someone talking in the kitchen, but it turned out to be a radio broadcast.
Циклон, о котором мы предупреждали, движется к региону. Завтра синоптики обещают ветер с порывами до 15 метров. МЧС призвала жителей соблюдать меры предосторожности. Дороги перекрыты. Холодная воздушная масса арктического происхождения несет с собой буран.
I heard voices coming from the upper floor too. For the first time in my life, sounds of a quarrel calmed me down. The staircase let out a long squeak. I took 1 step, yet my heart managed to beat 6 or 7 times in the meantime. The door to my parents' bedroom was ajar. Oh dear, it sounds like they're arguing. A shadow play unfolded inside a light spot. Black silhouettes were performing a dance of hatred. Mum hissed at Dad, her wrists flying toward the ceiling, and he towered over her, his hands crossed on his huge chest.
Мы все в опасности. И все из-за тебя. И не ври, ты видел его в поселке. Он вычислил, где мы живем.
Это был не он.
Я читала в газетах, на что способны твои дружки.
I ran toward my bedroom. My parents were in the middle of another quarrel where they showered each other with mutual accusations.
Карина!
Dad let out a low beast-like roar.
Пусть они прекратят.
Oh, Olya. Olya stood in the corridor, pressing her little palms against her ears. I chased away the illusion where my sister was getting devoured by the blades of a meat grinder. Anton, not now. Her face, swollen from crying, made my skin freeze. And it almost managed to push Katya's bloody image out of my mind.
Что случилось?
Они разведутся.
I hugged my sister and held her tight. My tongue refused to listen to my commands, to look for excuses. It felt like the screams were coming from every direction, right and left, up and down, splitting my head apart. Swear words rained down on us, so we covered our heads with our hands, like refugees running from a bombing.
Я хочу уйти!
В свою комнату.
Нет! Дальше!
Oh.
Отведи меня в Небыляндию! Ты обещал!
God, this is like the situation with Polina. I carefully unglued Olya's hands from her ears and led her away from the room with our parents, which was vibrating with malice.
Из-за тебя!
Ради кого?
In moments like these, I despised them more than they despised each other. I bolted down the door to my room and leaned against it. My knees gave way.
Почему тебя не было так долго?
Я пытался помочь одной девочке.
Ты помог ей?
Не думаю.
Oh God. Something hit the window's ledge on the outside. Olya shuddered and shifted her gaze toward it. Bam! Another snowball smacked into the window's frame.
Ты ждешь кого-то?
Probably. I didn't reply. Instead, I let go of her wrist. Olya wept in fear. I crossed the room, wincing from every shout coming from my parents. I could hear plates getting smashed now. They must have moved their argument to the kitchen. God, this is rough. Ooh, it's them. I flung the curtains and the window open. Hootie, Teddy, Wolfie, and most importantly, the charming Elisa stood outside waving at us. Olya gasped in surprise when she saw the owl girl.
Я же говорила!
She sees them as well.
Да, знаю, я тебе всегда верил.
Кто они?
Her fearful voice also had some curiosity mixed in.
Чтобы в такую погоду дома сидеть, надо быть очень скучными детьми.
У нас столько игр неигранных.
Давайте только не во все игры играть, а то у меня лапка болит. По чуть-чуть, и потом отдохнем.
Друзья!
Выходите скорее играть и танцевать!
My heart started beating faster as soon as I saw Elisa, and my inner voice practically screamed, "She's here! She's finally here!"
Они знают, как попасть в Небыляндию?
I entertained that possibility, looking at the animal kids.
Может быть, пойдем и узнаем.
Oh God. Is it a good idea to take Olya with you? But then again, would you rather that than be stuck with your parents arguing? And off they go. The silhouettes of my forest friends promised to free us from sadness, anger, and nightly horrors. Oh, I made sure that Olya wore warm clothes. Oh, Mum barked at Dad like a wild beast from that show with Nikolai Drozdov. Just quickly look at who that is. Zoologist, traveller, popular science advocate and TV host. Yeah, I don't know if it is a good idea to go out. We sneaked past the rumbling kitchen and into the snowfall outside. Elisa ran up to me and hugged me tight, poking her cold nose into my neck.
Как же долго! Пока мы вас, домоседов, ждали, то чуть не состарились.
She pressed her body into me even harder.
Оказывается, ждать так утомительно. Фу, дайте хоть минуточку в себя прийти.
Однажды я тоже долго собиралась. А когда закончила, то и вовсе забыла, куда.
Olya looked at the owl with suspicion. Oh, she's so cute. But she still giggled when the bird did a backflip and landed perfectly on her feet without staggering. All the other animals, as if on cue, stopped fooling around and stared at Olya in amazement.
Это же та девочка, что не хотела со мной дружить.
Меня зовут Оля. Раньше я просто тебя боялась. Тебя испугала наша совушка?
Может быть, у нее совофобия?
А это лечится?
Главное, чтобы ребенок не боялся веселиться. Иначе с нами можно умереть от страха.
I was stunned at the realization that my lips were slowly forming a smile. And that's after everything I saw in the garage. Every time I met Elisa, it felt like I crossed a river, and the sound of flowing water suppressed all of my negative thoughts.
Какие у вас красивые костюмы!
The fox girl let go of me and squatted beside Olya.
О, какая очаровашка!
Don't you dare hurt her.
Антоша, почему ты прятал от нас это милое создание раньше?
I glanced at the house, worried that our parents might have seen us and were about to ruin our fun like they always do. Then hugged my sister and replied,
Давайте отойдем подальше.
Запросто! Оля, а ты знаешь, как найти в нашем лесу Деда Мороза?
Grandpa Frost, a figure similar to Santa Claus hailing from Slavic mythology. Oh, I like that. My little sister's eyes widened.
Как? Нужно идти по сладкой тропинке.
Lisa bent down and took a candy out of the snow. Olya raised her hands in amazement. She gave me an inquiring look. I nodded. I would have said no. My sister munched on the candy.
У нас что, в лесу завелся Дед Мороз? Почему, ты мне не рассказывала?
Я рассказывала сегодня днем.
Но ведь днем я сплю.
Ага, вот я и рассказывала, пока ты спала.
Oh, that's pretty. Elisa dashed away, wiggling her red tail like a torch's flame. Olya went after her without thinking and laughed after taking another candy out of a snow pile.
Вы такие бодрые, на вас аж смотреть противно.
А ты давай не зевай. Лучше беги с нами к Деду Морозу, пока все подарки не разобрали.
Скажешь тоже. Скорее уж мне на голову свалится 3 кило конфет, чем я поверю в байки лисицы.
When the aforementioned sweets started raining down on the bear's head, I couldn't stop myself from laughing at him, ouching and bobbing his head up and down. Tasty treats glistened in the snow. Teddy sneezed and pulled a little bear in the north candy out of his ear.
Я бы вздремнул часок, а уж потом пересчитал все эти шоколадки. У меня такое подозрение, что тут не больше килограмма.
Elisa shouted at us from the other side of the forest.
Не в этой жизни! Давайте скорее! Дед Мороз уже заждался нас во дворце!
I shrugged and ran. running loosened the grip of fear I felt all this time. Something round whizzed past my temple. I decided it was a snowball, but then Oya proclaimed,
Зефир!
It's like a seashell. Soft confectionery made by whipping through berry puree. Ooh, that sounds nice. Ooh, that sounds really nice.
Не подбирай, он испачкался.
Ты что, веришь в микробов?
You let her take candy from a stranger, Anton.
А ты нет?
Раньше верила.
Graceful rows of colossal pines greeted us with their rustling paws. Yeah, it is like an enormous marshmallow. Snow drifted upward into the endless black sky just like last time. Snow piles lighted up like melted silver.
Как же красиво! А я думала, в лесу страшно. Нас родители пугали лесом, снегом и совой. Ну а мы с совой играли в снежной чаще под луной.
I did my best to keep track of Olya's movement, but it was a difficult task. My sister would jump inside bushes, picking up more candy, only to then get back to the trail laughing. Hootie flew over our heads, landed on a branch, and started hooting and shaking her head. There's gotta be something inside that candy, because they've gotta be tripping out. Wolfie dug into the snow with his face, dragged out a pile of bubble gum and swallowed it without taking off the wrapping.
У тебя будет несварение.
The wolf got scared and spat out the gumball.
Враки, злые собаки. Нет никаких несварений.
Yes, they do.
Вся эта чушь случается только со взрослыми.
Elisa stopped in her tracks and moved a canopy of intertwined branches to the side in a pompous manner, like you would open the curtains in theatre. Behind that obstacle lay the clearing. There stood an ice castle, glistening with silver. That looks pretty.
О, это все взаправду?
Wait a minute. Nah, I don't trust this place. That light.
Защипнуть тебя.
Не надо ее щипать.
We stared at the sparkling miracle. Its towers and walls were made out of snow and icy marble. I heard a calming sound of ringing little bells. There was also the smell of chocolate and burnt sugar in the air.
Милости прошу к нашему шалашу.
She didn't have to invite us twice. We entered the castle, spinning around and squinting from the blinding sparkles. Oh my god. Grandpa Frost sat atop a shiny throne. Yeah, there's no way this is real. Puffy pom-poms swung atop the two peaks of his hat. A snowy white beard covered his kind smile. He looked just like I imagined him back in the day when I still believed in Mum's fairy tales. Tall, strong and hairy, radiating frost and warmth at the same time. And his voice, low and syrupy, enveloped me like the smoke of a festive bonfire.
Антон и Ольга!
Ох, и намучились же вы, ребятки, пока сюда добирались.
Что ты, дедушка? Мы быстро дошли.
My sister spoke with the castle's master like she's never spoke with adults, in a lively, carefree manner, as if they were the same age.
Знаю, все знаю. Мне мои друзья докладывают. Кто был покладистым весь год, того подарок утром ждет. А кто ленился и грустил, пускай он дедушку простит. Лентяем и грустяем конфет не запасаем.
А я не ленилась.
И о том знаю.
He gave us a long, evaluating look. His real face was hidden under the Grandpa Frost mask. I was just standing there, unblinking, my gaze glued to the old man. I could accept children living in the forest and fantastical jumps toward the moon, but seeing Grandpa Frost in his frozen castle left me completely speechless.
Есть у меня для вас кое-что особенное.
A sack appeared in his giant hand. My nostrils got attacked by the aroma of coca, halva, and tangerines. Ooh. Confectionery that originated from Persia. Thick paste made from flour butter. Ooh. Sounds nice.
Спасибо, но мы уже ели конфеты.
Mm-hmm. Grandpa Frost pierced me with his eyes.
Разве то конфеты были? Так, одно название.
I think it's a mask, yeah.
Вот у меня конфеты волшебные, прямиком из Небыляндии привезенные.
Из Небыляндии?
This is so dodgy.
Сразу бы вам их дал. Заслужили. Но есть правила. Надобно вам 3 дедушкины загадки отгадать. Попробуйте.
I tried splitting my parched lips apart. But Olya was the first to reply.
Да!
Тогда слушайте первую. В нем живут машины и хранятся шины.
I looked around at the masked children. They stood without moving in the corners, but their shadows danced on the walls. I heard a low hum, and in my confusion, I thought it was the sound of their rumbling stomachs.
Гараж!
Yeah, I thought so.
Верно. Теперь вторая загадка. Подключайся, Антон.
Oh no.
Весь день ходит, как тень, посудой гремит, на всех шипит.
My eyebrows shot up in confusion.
Мама?
Olya raised her hand.
Можно я? Это кошка!
Верно! Хо-хо! Осталась последняя загадка, и подарки ваши. Только вот незадача, ребятушки. Запамятовал я, о чем же была эта загадка. А может, наши друзья-зверята нам подскажут?
Children in costumes surround us, laughing and stomping, only to start spinning in a crazed roundelay that somewhat reminded me of the dance under my window on that fateful night. Grandpa Frost burst out laughing, satisfied.
Убедили старика. Получайте.
He scattered a mountain of sweets from his scarlet sack, some of which I had never even seen in commercials before. Ooh, look at that. See a Milky Way. See a Snickers bar. Bubblegum of all shapes and colours with tasty aromas and inserts sticking out. Whoa. Oh look, Twix, Kinder Surprise. Oh my god, that's awesome. Oh, and a Mars bar. And a Bounty. And a banana? That's so funny. Lollipops the size of a fist and tangerines the size of Olya's head. And also Snickers, Mars, Bounty bars and Kinder Surprise eggs that we haven't eaten for so long already.
Ой, спасибо.
I don't trust anyone at all. I wiped away the tears of joy with my sleeve when my inner voice persuaded me to get rid of all doubts. This is exactly what I wanted for my sister and myself. The true Neverland without bullying and taboos. We're finally going to be happy. Grandpa Frost straightened up as he left his throne. He threw his hands in the air over the treats. Oh god. Animals that stood to his sides also raised their paws. Their eyes sparkled brighter than precious gems. The wolf's maw was wet with saliva.
Да будет пир на весь мир!
Good voice actor. Oh wow. Animal kids rushed to devour candy one by one, pushing each other and growling. Their faces were smeared with something dark. Olya grabbed the closest candy and tore off the wrapper. When I saw that, I felt a pendulum swing inside me. Oh, do we accept or refuse? I don't trust them, to be honest. I feel like I want to accept because I'm curious, but at the same time, no, don't make that face, Olya. No. I feel so bad. But I have to because this is just not right. Oh, this is a tough decision. I want to make Olya happy, but I might make her miserable. It's like a bitter truth or a sweet lie. Okay, I'm curious. I'll just press accept and see what happens. But I'll go back and refuse and see what happens as well. So I don't regret it. I fished out the most tasty looking candy from the pile of sweets on the floor. Then took a bite. Milk chocolate melted in my mouth.
С выбором вас поздравляю. Веселитесь в этот час. Я желания исполняю, сокровенные для вас.
Антон, смотри!
My sister's face was smeared in chocolate and I was about to reprimand her, but words got stuck in my throat. Whoa, 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 what is going on? A giant spruce shot toward the stars and disappeared somewhere in outer space, crowned by a giant moon. Giant balls shined on its branches, garlands of lights gleamed with all the colours of the rainbow. The roof disappeared and myriads of constellations sprawled on the night sky above us. Music, laughter, the smell of evergreen and sweets. And Teddy, Wolfie and Hootie dancing beside us. And the snowflakes floating backward. I burst out laughing, touched the bushy golden tinsel. It was all real. Aww. She looks so pretty. So cute. Elisa performed a theatric bow. Christmas balls gleamed and shimmered, and my soul shimmered in unison with them. I was becoming the magic winter forest, the soft evergreen, and all of the constellations at the same time.
Добро пожаловать домой.
This is where my home always was. The snow sparkled, almost blinding me. Olya started spinning in a dance. She grabbed a candy with each of her hands. Wolfie juggled Kinder Surprise eggs. My phone just died. Oh god. 1 second.
Ты видел?
They're all games. Consoles, handheld games, dolls, and transformer figures laid under the spruce as if they were brought here by trucks.
Это все наше!
I realized I was also dancing, so I replied while moving.
Многовато для нас одних. Я бы поделился с кем-нибудь. А ты?
Oops. I didn't mean to press twice, sorry. Only if it's somebody nice. A group of children stood at the edge of the woods, their enchanted gazes directed at our celebration. Oh, it was that. I must have skipped Olya's dialogue.
Эй!
I jumped across the whole clearing and glided to the ground near them.
Хотите с нами?
Ooh. Who are they?
Спрашивайте.
The kids took each other by the hand. I led their procession toward the gifts. There was no better feeling than leading someone on the road to their dreams. I have no clue what is going on. The holiday party was finally in full swing. In every holiday, just like in a beautiful apple, always sat a nasty little worm called transscience. Yet here, under the bristly paws of a magnificent spruce, holidays never ended.
Ты счастлив, Тоша?
I guess so.
Я счастлив.
Up in the sky, majestic fireworks went off, illuminating the dancing figures. My eyes wetted, my muscles sprung up. I tilted my head backward to look at the moon and screamed at the top of my lungs from overflowing emotion.
Ты счастлив, зайчик?
I jumped toward the stars and did a flip. All of Neverland could hear my scream.
Счастлив!
For the first time in the long days I'd spent in the new house, I woke up with a smile on my face. This time, happiness had a tight grip on me. I stretched, enjoying the sweet sensation with every cell of my body. Outside, I could hear the joyful chirping of beautiful red-chested bullfinches who celebrated the bright January sun. Their chirping granted me hope that the naked forest outside my window would someday turn into a lush paradise for my parents and my little sister. The corridor was filled with dog barks and the patter of tiny feet. The door to my bedroom flew open, greeting me with a warm breeze and the aroma of freshly made coffee. Doggo! Olya stood in the doorway, shining with happiness, holding the cute Zolka, who wiggled both her body and her tail. I remember this dog!
Тоша, гляди, гляди! Папа разрешил ей остаться!
Oh my god, we're keeping the dog? Tears of joy formed in my little sister's eyes.
У меня теперь есть собака!
Aww. I couldn't help but jump up from bed upon hearing this wonderful news.
Да ведь это же Жулька.
Yeah.
Сам ты жулька! Ее зовут принцесса. Да, ваше высочество?
The dog barks in agreement.
Тук-тук. Можно к вам?
To my complete surprise, Dad stepped through the doorway, smiling and hugging Mum, which was outright bizarre.
Как тебе пополнение? Мне эта дуреха под колеса бросилась, еле вырулил. Машину поцарапал, думал, голыми руками удавлю.
Oh no.
А заглянул ей в глаза. Они такие, как бы сказать...
Умные.
Во! А сама дрожит вся. Ну, говорю, ладно, доедешь со мной до дома и сиденье не обгадишь, тогда оставайся.
принцессы не гадят.
We laughed in unison, just like in the good old days, when every little thing could easily make us burst out laughing.
Чего замолчал? Давай, продолжай.
Mum gave Dad a cunning look and he turned away, red as a beet. They were acting like total kids.
А еще из хороших новостей. Ваш папа получил повышение. Грешно, конечно, радоваться, ведь старший бухгалтер пропал все-таки.
Oh.
Но, как говорится, нет худа без добра.
Это значит, тебя чаще не будет дома?
Это значит двойную надбавку плюс премии.
Oh, candy was obviously not chocolate. Local drug dealers in snow castles.
Правильно, Карина. Так что готовьтесь. На следующей неделе нас всех ждет семейное путешествие.
My heart started beating faster after those words.
Куда?
Oops! Olya even loosened her grip on the stray.
Неужели в Макдональдс?
Скажешь тоже, Оль. Бери выше. Мы давно уже планировали эту поездку, да все не получалось.
Вы уж простите нас, ребятки.
Mum wiped away a tear with her fist.
Да ладно тебе, Карин. Все в прошлом. В общем, собирайте чемоданы, летим в Диснейленд!
My sister and I jumped up to the ceiling with joy. The dog also got excited from that passionate speech and joined us.
Ура! Диснейленд! Диснейленд!
I don't know if this is real or not. Our jubilant screams filled the house, rushed through the attic and the drain pipes, flew across the front yard and sneaked into the shining white forest. Take the scary D word away with it. I swore that I will remember this day forever, the day when my parents finally dropped their derisive masks, and underneath them were the faces of parents we always knew and loved. Lilia Pavlovna still hadn't returned to school after Katya went missing, so today I was able to get a good night's sleep and went to school when it was already bright outside. The trail led to a snow-white plain with blackened houses in the background. They pumped out grey smoke that carried the smell of birch and pine logs. The freezing cold of the night had finally let up. It fell into slumber under the early sunlight. Ice sparkles appeared on the white caps atop the houses. I stopped, confident that nobody could spoil my good mood today. No sadness, no self-pity because of Polina, who was probably already sharing all of her grand plans about conquering Vienna with Romka. All of that was gone forever. A cow let out a long moo somewhere in the distance. I fell out of my fleeting daydream and walked forward, crunching with the snow blanket under my soles. Fluffy clouds floated above my head. I recognized the friendly shapes of animal kids in them. Whoa. Suddenly a snowball landed on the back of my head. Girlish laughter that reminded me of a small ringing bell and a spring breeze tickled my ears. I turned around expecting to see her, my lovely guide into the dream world, my dear Elisa. It's Polina. Yet instead of a fox-girl, Polina stood on the trodden path behind me, with her fateful violin case in hand.
Опять Петров ворон считаешь?
She lunged at me with contagious laughter, locking her arms around my neck. I just stood there in awe, drowning in the sweet aroma of her perfume.
Что с тобой?
Yeah, why are you hugging him? She flashed me an embarrassed smile. I saw her cornflower-coloured eyes gleam.
Дедушка мой, он снова может ходить, представляешь? В это даже сельский врач не верил, а он будто назло ему встал и пошел.
Interesting.
О, это самый счастливый день в моей жизни, Антон!
She dug her face deep into my chest, tightened her grip on my neck as if I was more than just a friend to her. I started looking around, anxious.
Полина, нас могут увидеть.
Из-за Пятифанова беспокоишься?
Yes.
Брось ты это дело. Его и след простыл.
Oh no. I cautiously parted with Polina, trying to understand whether it was some sort of prank or the truth.
Ну ты чего, не веришь, что ли? К нам вчера, буквально ночью, старший лейтенант Тихонов приезжал.
Oh no.
Так и так, Бяша потерялся, а вместе с ним и дружок его Ромка.
No! A group of skiers glided past us straight into the forest. Polina leaned into my ear, sharing her whisper with me, her eyes still locked on the skiers.
Как я поняла, во всех этих исчезновениях Тихонов подозревает Пятифанова.
Да ладно.
Я сама в шоке. По слухам, у Ромки того. Совсем шарики за ролики заехали. Да я, в принципе, и не удивлена.
Что ты имеешь в виду?
А ты не знал? Он из проблемной семьи.
Mm-hmm.
Даже думать не хочу, что творилось у них дома.
Romka always seemed excessively aggressive to me, always angry at everyone without a good reason. Now the darkness that he harboured within overflowed into the outside world and led multiple small innocent souls to their demise, as well as his own. It was hard to believe, but the first time I laid my eyes on Romka, I thought that things would end this way.
Вот, а ты еще мне его сватал. Как вспомню.
Прости, пожалуйста.
She waved her hand and smiled.
Кто старое помянет? Вот бы еще и бездомные дворняги тоже исчезли. Не жизнь была бы, а песня.
You're awful. I looked at Polina with suspicion.
Да шучу я.
I wasn't.
Пойдем скорее, а то опоздаем.
Polina grabbed my hand and started running along the village road, accompanied by joyful laughter. With every step, every laugh and every joke, the warmth I thought I'd forgotten enveloped my heart more and more. The all-consuming feeling of falling in love came back to me, this time for good it seemed. I tried letting go of Polina's hand near the classroom entrance, embarrassed that our classmates might taunt us. But it was as if Polina didn't care at all. She only gripped my palm even harder while opening the door. And she was right. Now that the cunning Katya, the heartless Romka and the sneering Vyasha were gone, our class looked as if it was sanitized from parasites. It became friendlier and kinder. I didn't get looks overflowing with hatred anymore. There was nobody to spit a ball of chewed paper at me for an empty shell of a ball pen. I sat at my lonely desk while Polina joined me. I wasn't surprised at all. She was so charming that I could call her my muse. A wave of inspiration hit me, and I couldn't help but pull my sketchbook out of my bag. I licked the pencil lead, my eyes glued to my model. She smiled at me again.
Что ты задумал?
So we still get the go in the end.
Спокойствие. Работает профессионал.
I drafted the shapes of her mesmerizing figure.
Знаешь, я часто наблюдал за тобой отсюда.
Not a creepy thing to say at all. She glanced at her former desk, then fixed a strand of hair behind her ear in embarrassment.
Правда?
I outlined her cute cheeks with multiple wide lines. It was the first time I was able to grasp somebody's proportions so precisely.
Полина.
Что, Антон?
She froze in place, afraid of disrupting my work with one wrong move and dispelling the magic of the moment.
Наклонись, пожалуйста, сюда. Вот так, да, хорошо.
Choking from anxiousness, Polina loosened the knot on her neckerchief.
Я всегда хотел тебя нарисовать.
Our eyes met.
О, Антон.
Yeah, remember people, they're 12. My pencil slid across the paper furiously, adding the shading to her chest.
Скажи, ты согласна стать героиней моего комикса?
What? Pleasant shivers ran across her body. She rolled her eyes back enraptured?
Да! Да!
This feels weird.
Как долго я ждала этих слов, милый!
The lead couldn't endure all of the tension and cracked, bursting into a million tiny pieces. Mr. Hyde. I couldn't believe my eyes when I looked at the drawing. Oh, whoa. I was looking at a terrible doll, but in the place where Polina's face was just a second ago, now rested some sort of formless mess. So yeah, we have been dreaming, I'm pretty sure of it. It took me some time to realise that I was sitting alone in an empty classroom, with only the specks of dust flying in the moonlight as my company. It was dark outside. My classmates, Polina, the feeling of euphoria, all of them were gone. Somebody wrote down a nursery rhyme on the blackboard with a piece of chalk, but some of the words were wiped out, and I could only read bits and pieces. 1, 2, bunny, meat. I was no longer smirking like an idiot. I stood up, pinched myself on the wrist. A ringing silence engulfed me. There was a taste of vomit in my mouth. My ears buzzed like from an endless scream, full of despair and horror.
Эй, кто-нибудь!
What is happening? Shadows swarmed in the corridor. I walked past boarded up classrooms, past the rotten spots on the walls and silvery cobwebs. Oh my god. More pictures of people. Spiders crawled under the ceiling. Lamps flickered anxiously. I stopped before the notice board, stunned. Hundreds of new photos were added to those of Semyon and Katya. Black and white printouts were glued on top of each other. The horrific collage of childish faces stared at me with empty eye sockets. Oh, are they streamers? Ah. Unable to endure the torturing stares of those watching gaping holes, I ran out of the school. I crossed the front yard and reached the road where the wind was whipping up powdery snow. No people, no cars, no birds. Low clouds got stuck on chimneys. Windows that looked like they were painted over with ink. Photos of missing people enveloped lampposts and fences like paper skin. Mostly kids, but some adults too. It felt like all the people who once lived in this village now became black and white ghosts in the photos with a person missing label. I dragged my feet forward along the dead street. Some houses had their windows smashed. The wind made itself at home there, wandering the rooms. Every gust made the front doors swing. Kids' coats hung from the fences. Their sleeves moved, stretched out toward me. An empty village. An empty husk. What happened here? Whoa. An overthrown waste bin rumbled across the back alley. Something flashed inside the window frames of the charred village store. I ran away from its sooty facade, then heard a guttural roar coming from the well. I started walking faster, trying not to pay any mind to the darkness inside the front yards, inside the bloodied dog houses, inside the crooked shacks. The moon appeared from under the clouds. Something flew over my head in this draining silence. As if a crop duster flew from one roof to another, a huge shadow loomed over me. I rushed to the right, hoping that I wasn't noticed. A small green house in front of me was my shelter. That looks like Polina's home. I rushed towards the closest building, going insane from fear. I pushed the gate, crouched and scampered toward the porch. I tugged at the doorknob. The front door was open. Oh God. A wheelchair rolled out of the darkness, almost hitting me, tumbled down the stairs, clanging with its wheels, and stopped near an apple tree. I followed it with round eyes, then turned my gaze inside the house again. The corridor was obscured by the dark, empty frames on the walls, glass shards on the floor.
Есть тут кто?
Oh God, I heard growling in reply. From around the corner at the end of the corridor, a furry paw appeared, and after it, a scary beast face with a pair of burning eyes. A huge, overweight beast crawled out on its belly, writhing like a snake. It could barely fit inside the corridor's mouth. It squeezed forward, clawing at the floorboards. My God, its maws clanged like a bear trap inches away from my face. The beast got stuck. Whoa! It banged its paws on the wall, spitting saliva in every direction. I turned around. I needed to get the hell out of this nightmare. I'll tell you what, these new headphones that I've had for ages now, the sounds that are coming through are insane. It is so good. I am so tense right now. Hunched back owl, bigger than an average human, landed near the front gate and stood in my way. Its beak kept on clicking. Wow. A snow pile bulged nearby and something reminiscent of a giant shrew crawled to the outside. I fell to my knees as if praying to these eldritch creatures. A figure draped in a dirty fox scalp crawled out of a dark hole, smiling with all its teeth. Its tail dragged after it, just a piece of vertebrae laced in torn sinews. Now we're really seeing these guys. The creatures' bodies became extremely distorted, and I decided I was going insane. They seemed small to me one moment, as small as a child, only to stretch higher than any of the desolate houses the next. Man-eating creatures towered over me. Something kept on writhing in their stomachs as if looking for a way out. The longer they stared at me, the wider their twisted smiles, their death masks became. Oh my God. The mutilated fox taxidermy mount licked its lips. Ew. Its tongue looked like a black centipede, longer than my forearm. The nasty insect ran between the razor-sharp teeth and dropped into the bottomless pit that could swallow the whole world. This is so cool. My God. There was nothing human about their speech. It was all just animalistic growls and bird-like whizzes. But I was able to understand every word as if we were speaking the same language.
бросить луну. Вы объедали меня, предатели!
Whoa.
Ты сам не захотел есть свою семью. Но...
What?
Жалкое мясо, никчемное мясо. Ах ты ничтожен, братец. Меня тебя тошнит. Позор! Позор!
Indescribable horror gripped me when the laughing beasts held their clawed paws toward me. Then suddenly, the thing that pretended to be a fox started barking loudly.
Глупцы! Его черед нести угощение. Дармоед! Пусть исполнит предназначение. К завтрашней ночи ждем места, а иначе... 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 Иначе мы съедим всю твою семью!
Jesus Christ. The monsters formed a circle around me and started dancing. I screamed. Huge eyes, fangs, claws flashed in front of me, blurring into a string of colourful spots and smudges. A fox face protruded from the fuzzy lights that the beastly carcasses turned into. Okay, but this is so cool. A desperate cry, my cry, rumbled across the back streets of the desolate village. The circle broke up and I ran for my life. It felt like I was running into a snare trap. My head was splitting. Ugly images danced inside it, colliding, falling over, getting up and dancing again. Even the text is all shaking. Whoa. They flapped their wings, poked my face with their beaks and their salivating maws. This is incredible. They howled and jumped around and my eardrums were ready to pop, either from their screams or from the internal pressure that fractured my skull from within. My winter hat obscured my vision and it seemed like the whole sky tilted, like a roof that's about to collapse. Snow crumbled from the sky like plaster. I ran through the empty streets, through the icy world, chased by a pack of beasts. Yet I couldn't see anybody when I turned around. I shut my eyes and hopped away from their ritual dance that went on inside my flared-up mind. I squeezed my ears with my palms to suppress the noise. I just wanted to stop my head from cracking open. Oof, that was messing with my eyes there. The sunrise found me deep inside the forest. I'm just moving my mouse around. Okay, just had to see if I needed to do anything. That was it? Oh my god. Wow. That was amazing. My god, that was incredible. Damn. And for once, it didn't end with a missing poster of Romka and Biasha, but I am looking here that Biatch's there, Romka's there, but also Polina? I'm confused whether all of that was a dream. Well, clearly. From, yeah, try to refuse the candies. Okay. So, let's refuse the candy. Sorry, Olya. I gripped Olya's wrist so hard that she squeaked, either from pain or from surprise. Cautious whispers spread through the room. Ears twitched on the masks. Shadows slid from one place to another.
Что такое? Что случилось?
Ничего страшного. Просто Тоша верит в несуществующий диабет.
Расказни родителей. Разбудите меня, когда он перестанет валять дурака.
Grandpa Frost leaned into me. He smelled of caramel and just a tiny bit of dampness.
Давайте не будем портить праздник, друзья. Сегодня каждый должен веселиться. Ешьте и пляшите!
Olya tried to pull her hand away, but I kept it in my clutches. I looked at the sweets and then at the tall old man and tried to focus on a barely discernible stench coming from him. Oh God. The stench of rotten decay masked with a sugary aroma, the foul smell of a beast. It felt like I was finally able to shrug off some strong delusion, fear, exhaustion, and coldness returned to me.
Спасибо, но мы сыты. И мы пойдем, наверное. Мама с папой переживают уже.
I dragged my sister toward the exit, but Elisa stood in our path. Oh, gummy worms. She had a china platter in her hands. For a brief moment, I imagined maggots crawling inside it, but as soon as my eyes darted toward the offering, I saw gummy worms instead of a vomit-inducing writhing ball of living ones.
Прошу, Антон, мы же друзья, правда? Мы даже больше, чем друзья. Вспомни, что я обещала. Никто не причинит тебе зла, пока я рядом. Ни тебе, ни Оле. Так что съешь, пожалуйста, всего одну. Съешь, а?
Антон, пусти! Ну пусти! Теперь и ты все мне запрещаешь, прям как мама!
Olya convulsed hysterically, trying to free herself from my clutches.
Это неправильно. Все здесь какое-то неправильное.
Вот как? А ты не задумывался, что из неправильного тут только твое мировоззрение? Как ты думаешь, что делают те таблетки, которые ты глотаешь круглые сутки, м? Они искажают реальность, путают мысли, уводят тебя со снежной тропинки.
I looked at Elisa with suspicion, searching for a comeback, but I couldn't find one. I remembered Vova's bloody mitten, but that was just an illusion.
Кто вы?
А на кого мы похожи?
Like nightmares that ravaged my sick mind.
С нами вас никто больше не накажет, не запрет в комнате, не бросит в одиночестве. Отныне никто не заставит вас делать то, что вам не хочется.
Откуда вы знаете, чего нам не хочется?
The music. I'm loving the music. The old man rubbed Wolfie, who was munching loudly behind the ear.
Я знаю. Мне шепчут ветра и тени, холодные звезды и безграничные небеса. Они говорят, что дети не хотят взрослеть, превращаться в тех, кто живет запретами, угрозами, наказаниями,
His voice grew louder and louder with every word.
ожиданием старости и смерти. Дети живут мечтами. О, я отлично знаю детские мечты о счастливой и беззаботной жизни. Той, в которой есть чудеса и дикая свобода.
His voice ran like thunder. It made all hair on my hands stand on end.
Все это будет вашим. Стоит только захотеть. Стоит только попросить.
And then he whispered,
Стоит только согласиться.
No, no, no. Olya, no. Olya repeated after him like an echo, as if enchanted.
Да, моя дорогая. Вкусить это.
The old man pointed toward the fox girl.
Я прошу тебя, ради всех нас, ради меня, ради сестры. Зайчик, отведай хотя бы кусочек. И тогда ты все поймешь.
And what if I refuse again? It's probably going to be the same thing. God. I'm refusing, I'm sorry. I felt like chilling winds blew from the cavities of her eyes, from the dark holes of other beasts, and the towering old man's too. The owl's face twitched nervously. The wolf's maw dripped with saliva. Thanks for the follow. The bear shuffled his feet, any trace of sleepiness gone from his face. And from behind us towered the one who pretended to be Grandpa Frost all this time.
Я сказал, мы уходим.
Oh, I got the Dr. Jekyll achievement. I gripped my sister's hand even tighter. Candy slipped out of her fingers and smacked against the floor. Olya started looking around, frightened.
Я сказал, мы уходим.
Elisa parroted me, and despite everything, I felt immense anger.
Ох, ну какой же ты все-таки дурачок.
Uh-oh. I heard the flute's melody, but now it reminded me of a cracking whip or even agonized convulsions of a fish that was thrown out to the ice. Music dangled about, striking at my ears. And then the crystal castle was filled with cries of children that slowly turned into beastly howls, intermingled with the sounds of crunching bones and ripping skin. Oh God. The china platter filled to the brim with maggots, smashed into tiny pieces. Whoa. Elisa's orange fur coat ripped at the seams, letting out a cloud of foul-smelling fog. Her twisted face bared its teeth and the stench attacked my nostrils again. The fox screamed, blood streaming down her cheeks like tears, making her fur sticky. Her bone-naked tail whipped against the walls with its vertebrae. I shielded my crying sister. Horror drilled into my stomach, rushing through my guts and rose up to my throat. I felt the urge to tear off my glasses and lose sight. I wanted to squeeze my eyes out and go blind forever. I turned to the face of the owl and my face contorted from disgust. Worms wriggled inside her mask's feathers. Her rotten beak snapped like garden scissors. I staggered back and barely avoided bumping into the wolf. His face was stretching out, his bones crunched. Teeth poked out of his festering gums like shards of broken glass, and his swollen tongue kept on tirelessly licking them. At the edge... Wow. At the edge of my vision, I saw a bear blocked our passage. Every inch of his body oozed scarlet ichor. Lava clogged his teary eyes. I pulled the shocked Olya close, looking for the exit in a panic. My foot ended up in a pile of sweets, but those were no longer candy. Oh god. Human remains blanketed the floor. Knew it. Ribs with shreds of meat on them and torn out jaws. A toothed necklace and moss-covered pelvic bones. Tiny skulls and scalps swimming in a sea of blood. Oh, there he is. Whoa. The horned monstrosity towered over me, clutching a bone flute in its long clawed fingers. I loved the art style of that. Oh my god. A giant goat that shed his kind old man form. Completely black, emanating hatred and malice. He scorched me with red-hot coals inside his eye cavities. His horns scraped against the ceiling. Ice cracked and thawed, dripping down, forming muddy pools of water, bearing metal walls that were hidden underneath it. I realized that we were doomed inside this cramped womb of a dungeon, surrounded by howling beasts. All I could do was hug my sister even tighter and watch how this circle around us shrank, how ugly paws reached out to us from behind the veil of a bloody fog. Я разорву их на части. Я вырву их глазные яблоки и трахну их сочащиеся раны. The growling wolf's maw snapped like a bear trap, splattering thick white foam toward us. But he was immediately pushed away by a rotting bear carcass. Мой черед веселился. Как же я утомился слушать их сраный гундёж. Я живьем сорву кожу с этой грёбаной козявки прямо на глазах ее братца. Jesus. Я заставлю его съесть собственную сестру. Накормлю его досыта ее потрохами. It felt like his face was about to tear apart, crack like an eggshell, letting out something even more sinister, nasty, scary. Gnarly owl claws grabbed at the grinning bear, stopping him from getting close. Лапы прочь от девчонки. The cackling zoo formed a furball that started rolling in guts and thawed fat. They howled, fought with each other, tore out scrapes of fur and feathers, ready to rip each other apart, like a pack of hungry dogs fighting for leftovers. A sudden squeal of the flute pulled them apart as if someone tugged at their leashes. The master of this pack charmed the monsters with his soul-rendering music, turning them into unmoving, silent marionettes that faithfully awaited his commands. The goat stopped nibbling on his shin-bone flute. Its devilish melody that sounded like a chorus of children being run over by a steamroller went silent for one last time. A chuck of raw human flesh plopped beside my shaking feet. Ugh. Oh god. No! Consumed by fear, I turned toward Olya. She lay by the wayside covered in pink snow. Oh. Just like the Sleeping Beauty in that cartoon. She probably lost consciousness from this soul-rending spectacle. I wanted to wail, to go mad, to die quickly and painlessly right there and now. But alas, I couldn't. I was still inside this torture chamber, choosing between a gruesome end inside the monster's stomachs and cannibalism. Wall and meat grinders kept on staring at me with their greedy, infinitely hungry eyes, ready to gnaw at my bones before eventually eating them, if I dared refuse their master's offer. But if I was to agree, I'm sure I would lose my free will just like them. I'll turn into a perpetually hungry monster that dances to the tune of a bloodthirsty madman. And I'll surely lead Olya and all those who I hold dear to their deaths. My lips trembled, a feeling of nausea turned my stomach inside out, but somehow I found the strength to scream.
Никогда и ни за что! Я человек!
Those words could be later used as my epitaph, but I knew that my remains were destined to never be found. My surroundings went dead silent. Oh no. The horned shadow consumed us. Elisa rushed to the go and stood between us, ridiculously tiny compared to the giant monster. Her tail dragged after her, leaving behind a scarlet trail. Fleas jumped around her back and the bones sticking out of it.
Подожди. Не спеши так. Не стоит. Зайчик нам еще пригодится. Зайчик нас покормит.
Ah. So it's similar to the other ending we had.
Для медведя и лисы. Зайчик кушать принеси.
Flames inside his eye sockets stopped trembling. Steel dolls bared their teeth in anger.
Разорвать и сожрать! Самозванец! Кожаный мешок стребухай! Заткнитесь, пустомели! Разве вы не чуете? Разве вы не помните? Когда он чуть не укусил Луну на снежной поляне?
The cannibals went silent, swallowing saliva in disappointment. Elisa, in the meantime, took a sharp turn and returned to the form of a cute child with a fox mask on that I met for the first time one January morning. She glided toward me, dissolving the horrors around us with the smell of tangerines, firecrackers, and magic. Her soft paws touched my cheeks, removing a sticky strand of hair from my forehead. Elisa embraced me and whispered in a sweet voice.
Тоша, ты хочешь спастись?
I stayed silent, gritting my teeth. I was afraid to look away, afraid that this fleeting illusion could get shattered.
Мой милый, скажи, ты хочешь спасти свою сестру?
Tears sprayed from my eyes as I wept. I continued to sniffle and shake, grabbing at the hem of the fox girl's long coat.
Скажи громче, чтобы все слышали.
Delirious from sorrow, I screamed, my face awash with tears. My mouth was immediately filled with the metallic aftertaste of blood. Oh no. The fox's black fingers kept pushing a chunk of human flesh deeper down my throat. What? I fell to my knees, coughing up blood, unable to vomit it out. Rotting carcasses of animals surrounded me once again. Oh no. No. Boiling anger swallowed up my mind. Something foreign and primitive burst forth, pounced from inside me. Oh, wow.
Я вырву твой поганый язык и засуну глубоко в клаку, ты безмозглая курица!
This animation is incredible. The ominous owl jumped away in surprise, accompanied by the fox's cackling. My voice went out, and then I bent in half. Vomit poured out of my mouth, along with the part of the treat that I wasn't able to regurgitate. His finger poked me. If I felt like a knife was lodged, handle deep in my solar plexus. Oops. Elisa silently stepped into the shadows, and the goat put his foul-smelling maw right into my face and roared. He knocked his hoof against the floor, and I ran for my life, forgetting about everything else. Did you get your sister? I heard them scream at my back, "We'll eat you up alive." Shards of ice fell on my shoulders, dead rodents frozen inside them. I managed to break free to the place where pines moved their branches and showered me with snow, like cooks sprinkling salt on porridge. The wind tore at my hair. I turned around and froze over. The garage was disappearing right in front of me, dissolving in layers, becoming dim and then transparent, before a gust of wind finally swept away the phantom of black walls. Only then I realised that I let go of my sister a long time ago and she was left behind in the monster's den. I knew it! There was only a giant snow pile left in the place of the castle. A girl's wrist poked out of it, like a cross would poke out of a burial mound. Terrified, I rushed over to the snow pile and started digging. Oh my god. Alya's pale face, along with one of her shoulders, appeared from under the white mass. Her bluish lips trembled. She's alive. Thank God.
Я сейчас!
My throat went dry when I remembered that I shouted these same words to Katya before. I continued digging and prayed for her to hang on. At some point I was able to see her stomach. Her voice was faint.
Ничего. Отнесу тебя домой, согрею. Шоколадом напою. Ты только не засыпай, слышишь? Ты только...
My fingers came across something sticky and hot. I cleared out more snow. It turned red and mushy. I gulped. How could I tell her? Oh my god! Alya's body didn't exist below the stomach. Rings of guts fell out of the wound. Oh my god, no. No, 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 no. Alya tilted her head and stared at the horrifying scraps. Then let out a deafening scream. No! Oh my god, I knew it was going to end it like that. Oh my god, there's no way. That can't be real. That can't be real. No, 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 no. She's fine, right? She's fine. she's fine. Oh my god. Dear God. How is she still alive? That's what I don't get. How is she still alive? Half her body's gone and she's alive. I'm sure we'll find the answers in the next episode. I gotta say though, the refuse ending was so good. It was amazing. I really enjoyed every single bit of that. That was probably the best episode they have done so far. And now I'm curious to see what they're going to do with episode 5. That was amazing. That was amazing.